Hello, hello, hello. Starting the live stream right now. Waiting for some people to get in here before I start talking. Hello, hello, hello. Some of YouTubers are hearing me. Hello, Stacy True. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Okay, I wanted to come here. It's been a minute. We had a new moon the other day. I hope y'all got y'all work in. You did what you needed to do. I did a lot of work myself and got some work in, got some things done on that new moon. Talk about the latest updates, La Madama, the new updates we got going on with the ancestors, which I'm very happy to talk about that. High divine prosperity. I have really unpacked uh ancestors veneration because I'm doing really good. How are you, divine prosperity? But I have demystified that over there. So we have some new videos that's about to drop, some new lectures. Let me say lectures because I am giving a lecture and a deep dive because ancestors is my favorite topic. And so we got a lecture that's dropping in there that I think that's very, very important. And I was very excited to do. I'm grateful too, sweetheart. And I was so happy to do that big book review on ancestral medicine. Your ancestral meditation have helped me so much. If I listen in the morning, listening to it at night while I sleep, I have best dreams. Oh, I'm so happy that it works for you. Hi, Larry Kirk. So I have dropped those videos. You're really gonna like these lectures that I have dropped in there. That's supposed to be dropping probably tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be dropping for you guys. If you're in the spiritual roots community, you don't want to miss that lecture. You don't want to miss that because I demystify all of it. And the book that you get over there that you have in hand, that you have at your disposal, that's really going to make you comfortable with working with your ancestors. So if you've never worked with ancestors before, um, this is going to demystify it for you. Hi, 501 Medium, Nia Men. So this book is going to demystify it for you. It's going to make it very comfortable for you. And it confirms everything that I have been telling you. Go work out further with your ancestors. You get a chance to review some rituals that you can do with your ancestors in healing them. But, like for the core of all work, that I'm always going to say, and this is ancestors' work, is shadow work. And you're going to hear me say that over and over again over there on the platform because that's what I do. That's what I do. I want to make sure that you are grounded in your ancestral practice before, you go on doing other things. Because the more grounded you get in your ancestral practice, the better your root work is going to be, the better your conjure is going to be. So we getting you fine tuned and primed and aligned to work with higher energies. That is the main thing that I'm concerned about over there. So you're going to hear me um, talk about that a lot because it's very important. I know there's some fancy stuff out here you want to sit up and grab and you want to go do this spell and go do that spell. Sweetheart, hoodoo is a way of life, it is a practice, it is a science. So, I don't understand why you want to pick up some and don't understand how it works. Hello, Archie Henderson, Yuri S.A., Clifford Ashley, Coco Shamil, so Lillian Hayes, Nicole. So hoodoo it is a spiritual science, and we break it down over there on spiritual roots. So for those of you over there, I I provide information that breaks everything down to get you comfortable in your practice. That's the main thing, getting you comfortable. How let it be, Linda Pierre, getting you comfortable in your practice. I want you to be comfortable in it because I'm there to root you on, encourage you, and let you see that magic in you. Because I'm gonna keep telling you, you got it. When you over there, I don't want to hear nothing else about it. Because we're renewing our mind and all of that over there. I'm going to encourage healing. So if you come to me and you ask me something about working with another deity and you're not sure about it, I'm like, did you talk to your ancestors? How consistent are you going to the altar? That's the main thing I'm going to be asking you if you're telling me we're going to go back, because this is a science. This is a science. So if you're not there doing your ritual, that we've talked about over there, being consistent with that and being with your ancestors, then again, whatever you put in here, that's what you get out. You're gonna get something out. I promise you're gonna get something out if you put something in there. But you got to put something in there. That's the spiritual science of it. Okay? That's the spiritual sign. Will I get my job back? I'm not doing readings today. If you would like to book a reading, you're welcome to DM me, send me your email, and I get you out an invoice. So those are the things that we're going to be covering. Ancestral Medicine is the best one. I don't know, that book is top tier to me because he the way Daniel Ford breaks that down, he simplifies it for you. And for me, it was so confirmational because during the time I was reading that book, I was experiencing some of those same things. That's what I was experiencing. So we break that book all the way down. We go thoroughly through that book, and then you get the book and you get a presentation on it as well. So I'm very thorough. We're very thorough over there because I want you to get it. I want you to use it. I don't want to mystify anything to you. I'm not gatekeeping over there. I want you to access your own magic and what feels right to you. This is not a one size fit all, but I know definitely your work with your ancestors is foundational. There's no way around healing. There's no way around working with your ancestors, when it comes to hoodoo. Because again, this is ATR, it's an ancestral traditional practice. You just need some guidance. Again, you'll get that over there as well. What do you need guidance about? Get specific about what guidance do you really need. Do you need spiritual guidance? Where are you on your journey? So really asking yourself what kind of guidance you need. Hi, Maxine Douglas, Daryl Doyle. So, and we just dropped tons of information over there about ancestors, and I am so happy to go over because I want to go over everything with you guys. I get so excited because I know the ancestors is real, and I want you to have that same experience. So you're gonna uh, I get really hyped about that. I just started out with my hoodoo and had a spiritual awakening last year. Okay, okay. And so again, are you working with your ancestors? Do you have a foundation with your ancestors? That's the most important thing. Having a foundation with your ancestors is I'm telling you, that's the soil. Your soil ain't right, you can't grow. So that's the soil. So that's the foundation. Well, Rising just coming in. Our videos and live schedule, my schedule changes often. Uh, we have a meet that's coming up. I think it's coming up in a day or so. And this is just a meet and greet. So I do schedule lives, but these right here are just updates for TikTok and YouTube. Our lives that reschedule are pretty much going to be private on spiritual roots. They're going to just be for us. and I am in Thailand, so I'm 12 hours ahead of you guys, Latoya, if that gives you, any idea about time frame or schedule. Hello, I want to find someone for an initiation to see what ancestors I will be working with. Hello, I want to find someone for an initiation. Okay, hoodoo is no initiation. Sounds like you're trying to go into an ATR, uh, a religion, a religion. When you see it like that, where initiation, it's those are more that have formed themselves into a religion. So if you want to do that, you'll have to find somebody who's initiated. And hoodoo, there is no initiation. You go through that whole it's more of a shamanic practice. And I'll talk about that over there when you get over there. I'll kind of break that down. I forgot what book review we did over there. I did so many reviews, but I talk about how ancestral practices is very shamanic. That was my experience with it when you start doing visualization work. And I think I posted some on TikTok when they kind of showed a little bit of that in Black Panther when he was drinking that sacred flower that they drink to go into the realm of the ancestors. So hoodoo is more shamanic, if you ask me. That has been my experience with the practice, because you directly come in contact with your ancestors and your spirit guides, and you do have the ability to work with them. We're all mediums, you guys. So just knock it off, because we're all mediums. Just knock it off, because if you're telling me you can't do that, because if you get over there where in spirit over there, spiritual roots, I'm going to tell you, knock it off, because you're a medium. You're not sitting down long enough to listen, because you are a medium. We all have these psychic abilities, especially when it comes to our ancestors. Which level do you recommend? Patreon. Wow, you moved to Thailand. Big congrats. Thank you, Latoya. It's okay here. I'm settling in, but it is a bit of a culture shock, but a good one. Uh, Hi, Nareka. And so I'm gonna, again, you have all the tools there to communicate with your ancestors, your most beloved ancestors, your most elevated ancestors. All the tools and guides are there. The only thing, if it doesn't work, is because, if you're not getting the signs, because you're not being consistent, you're not using it. I want to show them respect and want to make sure I do the right things to practice. You can't get this wrong, sweetie. You can't get it wrong. I don't know who is telling people this, but you cannot get ancestral. Them your folks. So you can't get this wrong, especially when you got the correct information and someone is well rounded in ancestral veneration. And I think I am. I think I'm well rounded when it comes to the ancestors and the way they guide you. They will show up for you. All you got to do is show up. They're going to show up if you show up. Okay, Bladia, they're going to show up if you show up. If you use these methods and be consistent with them, they're going to be consistent with you. But a lot of people don't want to do that. They want to do some flyby stuff. They want to pick up this candle. They want to do this and do that and just be, you can go out there like that if you want to. I'm not raw dogging it like that. I'm going to have me some protection. I'm gonna have me some protection on. I'm not raw dogging it. I'm not going out there like that. You understand me? So again, and then trust in yourself. I just want to mention my brother just moved to Thailand this year too. Congratulations. Thank you, Bladia. Thank you, thank you. But you have the ability to do that, and that's what you're gonna see over there. There is no if, ands, buts about it. You can do this. Okay? That's what that's who you are. You are your ancestors. So when you're telling me you can't talk to them or you're having some type of difficulty, I'm gonna go in there and we're gonna troubleshoot and get you on target. Gotta get you on track, especially when it comes to If you're not connected with them, are you doing any healing work? Because if you ain't doing no healing work and you still got blocks and stuff and false beliefs in your mind, uh, you know, you ain't gonna hear nothing like that. You gotta dive deep and look at your family and all that, and we kind of break all of that down over there. Canada, my butt, we do break it down over there. But I do hold you accountable because we have to do the work. There's no way around that. I don't care what candle, what it not gonna work like that. You have to be consistent in this kind of work. And hoodoo is all about consistency. Whatever you put in, you get out. You might have to do work 7 days. You might have to do 14, do work 14 days. You might have to do that work 30 days. But it's gonna require some consistency. Because spirit got to see that. Yeah, I don't understand why people say you don't need protection. I don't understand that eco saying I don't know why they say that. But honey, I don't play like that. I'm calling in all types of I'm calling in my spirit guides, my spiritual court, my ancestors, the archangels. I'm gonna have all types of protection around me. And if I'm going to do any kind of work like that or working with my ancestors or I'm going to do any kind of work, I need the work protected. I need my mouth protected, everything protected because I need my prayers to be answered. And you'll learn that too. The more you're intentional with how you use your mouth, things go a lot smoother for you. Thank you. I'm just looking for a teacher. My guys have been letting me know of a teacher. You're definitely, again, I'm a mentor because your ancestors gonna teach you. I'm just gonna be a mentor and look at me as the ancestor advisor because I work for them. You understand me? So if you having a problem with them, I'm just I'm just an advisor and a messenger of the ancestor. That's all I am. And I'm going to provide you with all the resources that you need to safely connect with your ancestors. Notice I said safely. Safely with health the ancestors because when we start watering our garden, because that's what happens, we transform over here when we start doing the ancestors work, when we start looking at the ancestors, looking at our family patterns, looking at our family, setting healthy boundaries energetically and physically. You might have to do them physically as well. So when we start doing those things, the transformation happens, and you want to pull out any weeds in that garden. Because I got weeds in my garden. I talked about the weeds in my garden with my sister. So that's a weed in there, and I did, and I'm doing work around that. I'm really doing hard work around that. Really sitting down, meditating, writing. Um, about what comes up for me doing that work. And it doesn't feel good? Absolutely not. But it gives me more insight into my ancestral lineage, what's in there, and the work that I have to focus on and do to keep myself in alignment with them. See, this is a way of life. This ain't a shadow work, ancestors work. It's the same thing. Folks calling the shadow work. It's ancestors work. Yeah, it's shadow work too. But in the ATRs, you're here called ancestors work. That's what you heard over there in the ATR. Before lack of a better term for mainstream, we'll call it shadow work. We'll call it shadow work for now, if that makes you comfortable. But you'll definitely be doing that. There's no bypass without it because even that is an offering to your ancestors. It is the most sweetest, honorable recognition from your ancestors because that begins the initiation process. You're gonna feel like you being initiated too because it is not gonna feel good. You're gonna see some stuff coming up in you. You're gonna be closing your mouth a lot and dealing with your own emotional regulation. You're gonna be doing that a lot, closing your mouth a lot. That inner child work, all of that is all over there. I found you at divine time and I started down in what I what I am because I want to keep seeking wisdom. You are going to get the wisdom. Again, it's getting you on alignment with your ancestors, so they can start teaching you. Because that's my thing is I want you to get used to walking with spirit. Yeah, you have. If you got to ask a question, you go right over there and talk to your ancestors. You go right over there and start talking to your guardian angel. Start accessing your spiritual court and start getting answers. And the more you do these rituals, that I'll keep, how to set them up or whatever, because we talk about that in the ritual mastery. Is when we talk about ritual and you to be consistent. Once you get consistent at those rituals, those dreams will start to pick up in your mind. They'll start to kick up. You'll start having dreams and you'll start retaining and remembering more of them. But again, you got to work through that subconscious, break down those false beliefs, and start creating your magic, because that's your part of your ashe too. You're building your ashe up every time you go in there and you start doing rituals and working with these higher energies. Okay. Then being consistent working with your ancestors. Your ancestors is you wouldn't go out there and raw dog your ancestors. You want some protection, because I wouldn't go out there and raw dog nothing. My ancestors got to be with me. Can't do nothing without them. They understand you. Okay, they understand you. So if you thinking that you have to know everything with them, you can't get nothing wrong with your ancestors, baby. You can't get it wrong. I'm telling you right now, you cannot get it wrong. Not in the information that you're gonna get over there in the community. You're not gonna get it wrong, because I am constantly providing you safe ways to do this. Okay. Which level you recommend Patreon while you move to Thailand? Latoya, I think I addressed that. I would do the ritual. Yeah, the ritual mastery. We have the collective conjure over there too. But I wouldn't recommend that if you haven't done this part of it. I recommend doing the ritual mastery before you jump over to conjure, because that's a different ballpark with the things that I provide over there. We go a lot deeper over there. You're welcome, Bladia. So if you're interested in diving, deeper into, because we're getting ready, I'm just dropping. Like I said, I've got a lecture coming up tomorrow that's dropping. Uh, two, maybe two. We have two that's on ancestral veneration, where I break that down. So we do a book and lecture on ancestral medicine. Great book. And then I do a full presentation on it and break it all the way down for you. And then we do one on ancestors. What is it? Ancestors Guide, honoring meditation, honoring ancestors guide. So we do that, and I break down that and give you a full lecture on that book, and then kind of we talk about the ancestors more. So you'll be, hi Kosan, you're welcome, Kosan. So I'm really going to be lately, in the past few weeks, the next few weeks, we're going to be talking about ancestors a lot. I want you to get familiar. I want you to get comfortable with communicating with your ancestors. Okay? I want you to get very comfortable with that. If nothing else, getting comfortable with that. And then you go on and you start doing other rituals. Okay, you really want to raise your vibration and get you to doing that work that you need to do. All right. So if you're interested in ancestral veneration and you want a closer relationship with your ancestors, I need to be, because I'm trying to do it all alone. It make it simple. It's not hard. I want you to know you can't get it wrong, and it's not hard. And I make it simple over there for you. Okay, it's very simple. Don't let anyone complicate that for you. The main thing for that of you want this relationship is sitting yourself down and getting a relationship with them. You have to sit down somewhere. You can't be sitting up no altar or nothing like that and then walking by it and not changing the water and stuff like that. You got to sit your butt down. Okay, you got to sit your booty down, and you got to talk to them. Okay, so we talk about. I emphasize that once you get over there and you listen to the lecture, I break all that down for you, beloved, and I want to get you comfortable with it. Okay. Now a lot of people is out here. I know what you contrary to what you have seen out here. People out here just grabbing stuff, but hoodoo is a spiritual science, and it's very important to be grounded in your practice and not be out there uh, without protection. I have an altar where I collect feathers and a flower, a vase, and things. I always try to keep it clean. Okay, well that's nice, Bladia. That is nice. But what is it for? Is it just for you? Is the altar just for you? Who is that altar for? And so my ancestors. Okay. Okay. So making sure we're servicing it and spending time with our ancestors is going to be very, very important in your practice, in your ashe, and in your magic. Okay. We also talk about too, you know, how important it is to stay covered when you're doing any type of work like that. But for the most part, we're being grounded in the ancestors. We're getting grounded in that. So if that's what you're needing, that's what you're wanting in your hoodoo, you want to see amplify your hoodoo, that's a good place to do it. Another one that I just dropped, and I'm very excited about this one. And I don't know who brought it up. I don't know if it was Kosan brought it up. It was one of my YouTube followers, I think, that brought it up. But now we're going to be looking at the law Madamas. I just dropped a lecture on that. Very excited about it. And then understanding where she came from. And knowing I'm saying she, but they. It is they because these are spirits, you know and breaking that down, looking at the feminine and masculine parts of these spirits. So, and I know Lamadama, you see that and you just see the woman, but then over there we introduce you to these spirits and really break down who they are. And we do a book review on it too. So I'm really excited about that. Seeing these spirits come up and learning more about them and connecting with them. Even going through the lecture, it was just I felt the connection with them because these matriarchs, they come from, these are mothers, these were healers. These are the women that defended and protected their families and healed their families. So going through that book review, it just got sentimental for me. Really, with finding out about who they are. So the Lamadamas, that's going to be exciting lecture that you can look forward to. That lecture drops on July 1st. Yeah, it drops July 1st. So that lecture is going to be awesome. You get a chance to know more about her and how to work with her as well. And that probably is going to be very probably the collective conjure. They're probably going to be interested in that because that's what conjure is usually about. It is working with spirits. Okay. And then seeing how she got adopted into the hoodoo tradition, seeing how Lamadama entered the tradition through these other islands, such as I think it was Puerto Rico, the Caribbean, Afro Latino community. So we really go down into the history and how she came into hoodoo as well. Hi Viking, hi Percy. high Rochelle washing. So we really break that down and find out who she is. And I'm sure you're going to enjoy that lecture and finding out who this ancient matriarch, mother, ancestor is. Uh, and then I talk about a lot too is when we start to look at these saints, and I'm still trying to gain more information about the saints as well. And again, this is a part of Hoodoo culture, our traditions, and some of the spiritual systems that we work with. High healing Felicia Viking. So I really talk about, we go into the saints and learning more about their lives and how they were really regular, they were everyday mothers and fathers that you would see in our community. So I really break that down and go into the saints as well. But like I said, I'm really excited about ancestral what is that? I'm really excited about ancestral medicine that we just dropped. And ancestor veneration book we just dropped. And the most, I guess I'm really, really excited about La Madama because I didn't know much about her at first until I did my research and started reading this book and doing the book review. I was like, oh my gosh, this is just so awesome. And so you'll notice that too when it's important to research. I hear a lot of people, they want to work with Oshun, they want to work with Oya, they want to work with these different, spirits. But if you don't have a foundation with your ancestors and they're not leading you to God, they're not leading you to work with these particular deities, I wouldn't recommend doing it. Okay, I wouldn't recommend doing it if your ancestors have not led you do that. I know you get on here and then you see all these different deities, the child of Oshun and knowing about Oshun and Oya and all that. That's great to learn about them, but until your ancestors say, "Hey, I want you to do this," and you can even ask them before you even do it if that's something you consider, and ask them and see if they will give you some feedback on whether or not you can do that. Don't just go out doing stuff because you see someone else doing it, especially when you have a relationship with your ancestors. And really, a lot of these deities don't want to talk to you if you ain't got yourself right. Okay, and your ancestors are going to lead. They're going to teach you the language of spirit and mediumship, but first you have to develop that relationship with them. And that's why you'll hear me say over there in our community, ancestors, ancestors, healing, healing. You're going to hear that a lot. If you come to me and tell me you're having any type of issue like that, that's what I'm gonna go back to, beloved. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. There's absolutely nothing wrong. It is part of the journey. All of us have this from time to time. If we're willing to shift and be consistent, we will see results. I promise you, you will. But if you're looking at hoodoo like it is blam blam, no, it takes work. You might have to do work, like I said, 7 days in a row. You might have to do it 14 days in a row. You might have to do it all month. Okay, but you will see a change. It's all about consistency as well. Whatever time you put in there, that's what you're gonna get out. That's how it works, beloved. But if you're ready to learn more about rituals, you're ready to form your own rituals, you're ready to trust you. And see, I'm not going to, you get over there, I'm not going to tell you how to do no work. Your ancestors going to teach you how to do the work. That's why I'm telling you that's where you need to go. Stay out here getting other people's stuff. Get your own stuff. You got it. Your magic more fire than anything else. And you reaching for somebody else's magic. But all the magic you got is inside you, but you scared. No, we're not gonna do that. And I ain't gonna let you do it over there either, cause I'm gonna tell you right off the bat, you are magic. I don't know what you're doing. You tell me what you gonna do. Tell me how you gonna put it together. And if I can help and give you more insight, I will do it. But more than likely, when you go to studying and reading this, you're gonna start putting things together yourself. Your ancestors gonna be leading you to certain herbs and things like that they want you to work with. And that's the correct way to do it, beloved. Your own magic is the best. I started a shadow work journal for about a month and somehow it just vanished, so I stopped. I don't know why I did that. For a lack of a better term, the devil is a lie. Girl, pick that back up and get your healing. You gotta find another one. Don't let that stop you. It's paper and pen all around the place. Just get back on your healing. Cause that right there, that's gonna get you where you need to be. I promise you, your shadow work gonna get you where you need to be. Cause it's medicine in it. Once we start breaking it down, we start seeing the medicine and we start communicating with our ancestors. Breaking down the family tree and all of that. But over there, we have resources over there will help you break that down, and that's what I like about what was that book review we did on honoring ancestors. This book actually has shadow work prompts in it. That's what I liked about that book because it has shadow work prompts, and you'll see that in ancestors. If you have any ancestral books, if you've invested any money in how do you know where the ancestors are giving you ritual signs and messages? I feel like my third eye chakra is blocked, even though I've been healing and working hard on myself. Okay, are we doing the spiritual baths? It's honoring ancestors guide by Mallory Vardos. And we're breaking that book all the way down. I'm doing a presentation on it and a discussion on the book. And like over there, hey Misha, you again over there. We want dialogue. If you have any comments or anything you want to share on the lecture, put it there. And I'm always there. If anyone's over there, they know I'm always going to respond to your comment. I'm going to engage. That's what the platform is over there for. Engage, engage, engage. Ask questions, have discussions. I want to hear what you have to say. Okay. All of us are fine tuning and learning as well, but I'm sharing with you my experience and the things I've learned and I know. Okay, how do you know when your ancestors giving you ritual signs, messages? I feel like my third eye shut. Okay, so what ritual or what are they guiding you to do? Are they telling you to go to the river, take a bath? Again, one of our rituals was taking spiritual baths. I would be, probably trying to clear it with a crystal. I would be doing a blockbuster on myself. Yeah, that's what I would be doing, a blockbuster on myself. Again, that's why all these rituals and things are for. Get in the book right now. Amazon got it. Yep, Amazon got it. Even though, and mind you, not if you get over there in our community, you get those books. They're absolutely free over there. Okay. I do the book review. You get the book for free, and you get an exclusive lecture of the perspective and experiences on the book that I give over there. That's what I mean. How do you know you listen when you? Again, if your third eye is blocked, then the communication is going to be blocked. So I would start doing a blockbuster and probably being more consistent when I am listening to them. I have an altar for them and honor them every Sunday. You do it every Sunday. Okay, thank you. I would check it out. Okay. So making sure that again, if you have to do a spiritual bath, you might have to do it 7 days. You might have to do it 14 days. You probably need to do some shadow work. If some is blocked, you need to do some shadow work. You need to sit down with yourself and start peeling back that family tree and picking your weeds at your garden, because some of our ancestors, all folks ain't good folks. And some of our kin folks are like that. What are some of the signs that your third eye is open? You will be able to, with me, you'll be able to clearly visualize with your eyes closed. You'll be able to see. your imagination will be very active. That's the only way I can describe it, because uh when the imagination is where the spiritual realm lives. So if you're able to go in there and go into the astral realm and imagine going to see your ancestors and have very vivid meditation experiences or dreams, then yeah, your third eye is open. If you're able to see things in your mind's eye, okay? And that's the real world, you know. Okay, thank you. I would check it out. If it is something is doing the ancestors work again, if you're going there every Sunday, you probably need to be doing some. And I'm just troubleshooting here for you, um, giving you a variety of things. You might need to do shadow work on top of the spiritual baths, doing a special ceremony with them, a cleansing ceremony, praying for those ancestors, saying scriptures. I talk about that over there, saying scriptures for the ones who have passed over, writing prayers for your elevated ancestors. Again, being sweet as possible with them, elevating them, encouraging them. And again, if you're finding a block is something heavy in you, do some ancestors work, some self-love work, because when you love and you take care of yourself, you're doing it to your ancestors as well. You're taking care, you're doing something that they were not able to do. And again, you're carrying them in you. So keep that in mind, you know, that I kind of break all that. What are the ways you can listen to your ancestors are saying to you? Sit down and listen. Be quiet. And I talk about that too over there. The longer you keep your mouth shut, the more you keep your mouth shut, you can start listening to spirit, because your telepathic abilities will start to come alive. The inner voice will start to talk to you. All you gotta do is keep your mouth closed. That's it. You get a lot of information from the ancestors when you keep your mouth closed. And once you start keeping your mouth closed and stop going again, because you're learning how to build up the chi in your mouth, and you're building up your spiritual communication, because now you're using this. You're tuning into this, what's going on, your awareness. But once you start doing that shadow work, you'll start learning that. I feel like they always say, keep going and love. We love you. If that's what you feel like they're saying, that's what they're saying. That's what they wish they sound like something they would say. Because they fought so hard for you to be here. They want you here. And if they can keep going, you can keep going. They can keep going, so can you. We walk in their mighty steps. Okay. But again, if you're having issues like that, keeping your work consistent with your ancestors, going there praying for them. Don't forget that, playing music, spending time. Because again, the more, that's just like with anyone, the more you spend time with them, the more the relationship builds, and you'll start feeling this love will come over you. You'll feel that connection. Believe me, it's going to happen. It's going to happen, and you go there. And people like, I don't want to go there when I'm upset. That's when you need to go there. You need to go there when you're ready. You need to go there when you're ready. And you'll see when you get there, after you've been there, you're gonna feel much better. That's gonna encourage you to go there more often. Believe me, you need to go there when you're ready. Don't wait till you get better, because that's what they're there for. Okay? And then you can start the healing. You can start talking to them. They not ready to see you. Be real with them. Shucking and jiving. You ain't got to come up with no special piece of paper. If you wanna, but for right now, we trying to get you all the way in with them and build up your ashe, and help build up your hoodoo practice. Help strengthen it, amplify it, and we do that with consistency. Okay, what are some of the ways you protect yourself and your space? Again, I do smudge. I'm always cleaning, wiping things down. Um, sweeping the floor, mopping the floor. Then I have rituals that I start with, invocations and rituals I start with to start clearing out any energies in my space. Okay, because you got to remember when you know how to use your mouth is the one. So when you start talking, you're going into other frequencies, and they hear you. Okay, you learn the power of your words through your invocations and your prayers. I remember a lot of my dreams, and I also have dreams about people who have died. That's how ancestors come. They come through like that as well. I would start documenting those dreams because what happens is you start putting things together. I just learned that just recently. I've had some dreams the ancestors have showed me, and now they didn't make sense then. But then later I'd be like, oh man, now it all comes together. It all makes sense. Write them down even when they don't make sense. That's how it's been working for me. Especially if you get your rituals kicked up, they're gonna be showing you a lot of stuff. And it got so, especially when I do journey work, I can't tell if I dreamed about something or if I saw it in a journey or if I was standing somewhere having a vision, deja vu. I can't tell the difference now because uh spirit is always transmitting things to me. And so sometimes I don't know if I saw it in a vision or I saw it in meditation or I saw it in a dream, and it'll get that way sometimes because they will be communicating with you all the time. And again, we talk about consciousness over there because your mind is a spiritual transmitter. Okay, so when we start closing our mouth and being quiet, we get to listen to the inner parts of ourselves. And this is where the spiritual communication starts. Most spirits are going to speak to you clairaudently, which is really is going to be through your mind, telepathically, or you might get certain feelings. Some people they're really good at their feelings. Some people, and I would expect this probably in an air sign or a water sign, they'll probably be able, and some fire signs be able to pick up things telepathically. For a Taurus, it might be feeling. An earth sign, it might be feeling. Okay. So we do that over there too. And I also um we look at your natal chart because based on your natal chart, I can go through your chart and break down a whole spiritual hoodoo, what I call it, hoodoo spiritual blueprint for you. So you'll see the kind of workings that you can do based on your natal chart. So I break that down too. We talk about that too over there and how important is because when we look at astrology and the cosmology, it's based on the soul progression. Okay, that's what it's based on. And so when we start looking at that, and you'll see it when you do your shadow work too. After you see that spiritual blueprint, and we look through your houses, and especially look in your south and north node based on that, and you look at in your Chiron because that's important too. That tells a lot too. But once you look at that, you look at your shadow work, it's almost going to be identical, you guys. It's almost, and it's just like that. It's like that. And I think when that happens, detachment happens too. You stop taking it personal when you see it in your natal chart, and then you see the work, the experiences that you've put down on paper, and it really lines up with the shadow work. And then the healing happens. Okay. Then you can start planting your seeds, going in a new soil. Uh, that's going to help you. Okay. And I break that down for you to give you a blueprint and see the kind of root work that you need to do in your chart for you. And that root work is ordination. And to me, astrology is that root work to seeing um how this stuff is how what is the word I want to use for that in your soul work, on your soul journey. So you can really see how it's in there. I just did the ancestors DNA test the other week and I just got a text it's on its way. Okay, that's good. But I like recommending people that's a good thing that you got that. But talk to your folks, learn more about them, learn about their struggles, seeing what was their experiences in their life. Um, was there any trauma there? You know, it's good learning their stories as well, just sitting down learning their stories. DNA is good, but when you know their stories, I think we get to know them more intimately. I sometimes don't like to go in stores because picking up all the different energy from people. I can completely understand that. I know I would start wearing, I don't really have that problem anymore. Um, I would start wearing, what's that, orgonite, orgon. That really helped me to keep my energy refined. I would do that. Some people are wearing bells now, making sound. You can take Florida water in a little spray bottle and spray it around you. Hey, I use all types of tactics. I used to take Florida water with me and just spray it around. Me a mist, just a little mist, do a little mist on myself. I wore tiger's eye. Tiger's eye helps as well. Then staying focused on myself when I get in there. That's the main thing, kind of staying focused on myself. But I can't wait till these videos, these lectures drop because they're so informative. They are so insightful. They are so informative, uh, and it's so detailed because I take the time to really break things down and go through the book as well. So you're in for a very good treat over there. And what else is going on over there? Again, I think too, and I wanted to talk about this. It's important that we understand too. I don't hear it being emphasized a lot. Um, Hoodoo does have a spiritual system, though there is no initiation. There is a spiritual science to it, you guys. I know you see this fancy stuff on here, and people are they're reaching for things and showing you all types of work on here, and but if you don't have the full context to it and know how it really works, the science behind it, then it's not going to be as effective as you want it to be. And so, that's what we do over there. We break everything down. So soon we're probably going to be going through curios. And curios are things like chicken foot, alligator teeth, things like that our ancestors used in mojo bags and other workings. And soon we're going to be going over those things and breaking that down. But there's a lot of information over there, and I know as we go on, because hoodoo is just it's just such a beautiful even spiritism over there, looking at Lama Dama because she comes from the Puerto Rican Caribbean culture. So and looking at that culture, I was like, oh my gosh, they just like gumbo. They just like hoodoo. Hoodoo is like gumbo. That's how I look at hoodoo. Hoodoo is like it's like a flavory, zesty gumbo. It just gets better and better. That's just been my experience with it and working with the ancestors. they give you spice, you know. And if you want to work with another deity or another system, and you ask for their permission, they will line that up for you, you know. And that's why hoodoo is so vast too, and it contains other spiritual systems, you know, in it as well. It's not no not initiation um process. However, you become the priest or priestess of your ancestral lineage. That's what happens there when you begin to wake up and begin to perfect your I call it ancestral magic, because that's what hoodoo is start turning into, because you start following your ancestors on doing a lot of things. Okay, but that's what we're going to be learning over there, and some more things. Like I said, I'm going to go into curios. We're going to break that down. Railroad spikes. I really want to get into the horseshoes, because horseshoe things was a thing too in hoodoo. So be expecting a lecture dropping on that really soon about the curios when it comes to the railroad spikes, when it comes to the horseshoe, the alligator tooth, what else? The rabbit's foot. So all these curios and how they were used in different parts. Um, different areas in hoodoo, because you know, like I said, Arkansas hoodoo don't look like Alabama hoodoo. Tennessee hoodoo don't look like, you know, South Carolina hoodoo. It just all looks different depending on our family and which and where we're at. And the curios will look different too. um I'm looking forward to it. I collected some railroad rocks. Yeah, use some railroad rocks to keep your stuff stable. It's power for the those rocks as well. And then we really get into learning more, like I say, about those saints, and we learn more about some of voodoo, because when you look at voodoo, I was talking about this on one lecture, because you know, voodoo is more ancestral, uh, and that's how we go into it over there in hoodoo. We going on the ancestral side, and that's how I got thrown into voodoo. I got thrown into voodoo through the ancestral side, and then learned later that voodoo was already here in the Americas. It was already here. It was a form of it already here. It was already here, you guys. And you can see a little bit of that when you look at the Puerto Rican, Puerto Rican, what is it called? Espiritismo. When we look at that spiritual system, you'll see a little bit of that in there. You know, let's see, what exactly is root work or the root worker? The root worker is someone who is really works well with the land. Most of them are healers, and they have a special relationship with plants and nature. I tell you who I would consider as a root worker. Um, I would consider. They said Bishop Mason. He was a root worker. But I would consider a modern day was like a George Washington Carver, because he knew plants, and he got accused of he know how to talk to plants, but he really did. That what is in essence is more like a root worker or herbalist, modern day herbalist or a root worker. And most of these root workers uh, knew how to find the origin of the problem. They would use a lot of prayer work in there, ancestral work in there. These are more herbalists and root workers like. Okay. They knew, and they work with nature spirits, they work with angelic spirits. That's more of root work. Now, conjure, and I know it has been used interchangeably. Hoodoo, root work, conjure, it's been used interchangeably. But from my perspective, and someone else might say something different than what I'm saying. That's fine. It's just from my perspective. Conjure is when we start working with these spirits. You initially have to go in and start knowing you know how to work and conjure spirits. The thing that Solomon did, the thing, because I'm looking at it from our perspectives when our ancestors were looking at these books, and I just broke down the 6 and 7 books of Moses. We just went over that there. This interesting I'm talking about that. I'm glad you brought that up. So we just broke down the 6 and 7 books of Moses, and in there we get a chance to look at real conjure. Okay, so I feel looking at it from that perspective, when I read these books, I see the conjure. I see where our ancestors were learning to work with these different energies, angels that's over there in the 6 and 7 books of Moses. We haven't went over the key of Solomon yet. I'm sure we're going to go over that real soon, but I wanted to stop and do ancestors, make sure everyone was grounded in their ancestors before I went on to this other what do you call that? The lesser key of Solomon, or the key of Solomon. And that's going to be just for the conjure class. I'm not going to even post that in the ritual mastery class, because again, we're trying to get, over there, that's just really getting into your root work, really getting dedicated to your ancestors, really perfecting your rituals before you go over to conjure. Coming in late, we'll catch the beginning on replay. Okay, that's fine. It's the real Tashi. So over there in conjure, so over there in the conjure tier, I post the 6 and 7 book of Moses and break that down. And and like, because I want you to slow down and read the material and understand the material in conjure. It's very important that you read these books thoroughly. And that's another reason why I give a lecture, to give you great context, so you don't get over there and grab nothing, and because you didn't, you missed something reading it, or you know because again, these are older books too. And so in the way it's written, sometimes I feel like I know I have to come in and give a lecture on it to give you greater context on it. And that's what I do over there. And so when you're looking at these books, be careful, because this is conjure over here, and some of these spirits, because as we go on with conjure, you'll see some of these spirits you got to pay, and you got to keep your end of the deal. And that's why I say you need to stay over there with your ancestors, perfect that first, and get that right with them first before you come jump over here to conjure and start working with these, or knowing more about these spirits, or even trying to work with them. Okay. You're welcome, KMM. Yeah, interesting. I can't seem to find the Book of Solomon 6 or 7 of Moses. I need to find a copy. We definitely have it over there in Spiritual Roots. You get a copy of the book and the lecture. If I'm going to give the lecture, usually I'm going to give you the book. I'm not going to give a lecture on something unless I can give you a resource so you can have and review it on your own. That's usually how I do it over there. Okay. But again, looking at the context that our ancestor used conjure, and what spirits they use to help them to do a lot of their working. So you'll see that over there as well. But then you have people, and I have to say this too. You have some people that are just some fire root workers, and they've never had to do conjure. They're not interested in conjure. They just work with these ancestors and their ancestral spirits. Okay, but we get to conjure. The scope is very wide of the spirits that you can work with. I think somebody was talking about the goetic spirits. What can I do? A child has ADHD and can't get self together. Uncles had the same. They did nothing with life. What can I do? Child have ADHD and can't get self together. Uncles was the same way. They did nothing with life. I that is again implementing some type of regimen for him, and start looking at herbs, some sort of herbs to help regulate him and probably keep him busy. So again, looking at a regimen that's going to keep him busy, get him interested in things that he like, because there's some interest there. So really find out what he's interested in, keeping him interested, getting him on a regimen, and seeing if there's any herbs out there to help him regulate himself. That's what I have for that with the ADHD, because it's something that he likes. There's something, we just got to find out what it is. He 23. He's a general. He's a generational curse. I thought it was a generational curse. Now that's not always the case with that. Hi, Monique. I'm doing well, sweetie. How you doing? Um, I that's not always a curse. I could say with my mind and looking at how my mind works, and sometimes those, they disguising themselves as spiritual gifts. I'm just telling you. Um, and because I've been seen as odd, especially in personality. If you spent time around me, um, autistic on the spectrum, and ADD as well. So again, and in the way I see things, not a lot of other people see things the way I see things, you know. And it's sometimes it's not even in people's awareness. Hi, Black Eyed Peas. Hey, how you doing? Welcome, welcome. You're welcome, Monique. Welcome, Black Eyed Peas, and slid on up in here. Hey, Mia X. But again, looking at I just look at it from a different perspective because I have a daughter that's autistic, and I've seen her do some uh things spiritually. I see her spiritual gifts. So again, these are just terms because I got complex feelings about that because my mind works differently, and I seem off-putting or weird to people. Again, what is normal? What is that? You know, again, finding out his interest and finding out what works for him, because I don't really think it's a generational curse. He just needs to find out what is his interest, and once he find out what his interest is, he can find his purpose. And that's certainly how it worked for me, but it may not look like anybody else's interest. And that's certainly how it is for me. Again, just taking it slow and knowing that he has that, but finding his interest. It's not the end of the world. It is not. I'm here to tell you it is not. Because I mean, I am different in a lot of ways, and that has rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. I think with me, I don't have any social cues. I can miss social cues, and I am be again. I think this has a lot to do with just my sign too. I can be outspoken, and I don't look at hierarchy. This really doesn't matter to me about who's in charge of what. If I have an issue, I'm just going to bring it up to whoever. I really don't care. I just don't. I don't look at hierarchy like that. It just doesn't. You know, and I've been looked at like that, like, "How dare you?" And I'm like, "How dare what? I just asked the question." So, um, like I said, I missed a lot of the social cues, and I just don't function like that. I'm a Pisces. Oh, okay. How do you feel about Palo Santo? I think it's good. It's a good thing to use, but I heard it is being endangered. Uh, but I use it, If I had my hands on it, I'd probably use it. But there's other alternatives. I found myself, you can do coffee. You can smell the smell of coffee to drive out bad energy. Um, so there's other alternatives there. And see, being in this hoodoo, I really learned to use what I got on hand. So if I ain't got Palo Santo, you best to believe I'm gonna find something in their kitchen to make it work. And that's how it's been for me lately. I've been really embodying that sort of energy since I've been here in Thailand, because I don't know where everything is. So I've been having to grab what works and make it work. And that's been working. That's what I've been doing, y'all. That's what I've been doing. I ain't been going out of my way. I've been going around here and making lamps, oil lamps and everything. I've been making it work, baby. Using salt, pepper. After a while, but frankincense I love. I'm just scared of sage and made me sick after. Uh, I know one of my favorites that I used for a long time was sandalwood. I love sandalwood. I just like it. Sandalwood is one of my favorites, and I think a lot of people sleep on it. But sandalwood is another one. It attracts good spirits and it gets rid of negative spirits. So don't sleep on sandalwood if you can get your hands on some sandalwood. Not a lot of people talk about sandalwood. Okay. Now I usually use, like, if I'm doing money stuff, I would use some nag champa, burnt cinnamon, or burnt cloves. You can burn cloves for incense. Cloves, don't sleep on cloves. Cloves is good for prosperity too. So it's allspice. But see, everybody want to work with cinnamon. But they got other ones that's good too. Cloves is good for Cloves is good for money. Allspice is good for money. What is another? Chamomile is good for money. See, it's so many other, but everybody gets stuck on these other herbs and they don't know about these other ones. But see, I think learning about a variety of them, you learn to use what you have on hand instead of just thinking you have to have this particular herb. What's the best cleansing and protection for spices? What's the best cleansing and protection for spices for burning? I don't understand that question. What's the best cleansing? I don't know what you mean by that question. I'm confused. If you're saying you want to know how to cleanse your spices, another way you can cleanse your spices or your herbs is blow a tobacco, a cigar smoke on them. That's another way I cleanse my herbs. If I don't do that, then I'll do a prayer over them. Cleansing spices, she's asking. So you can blow cigar smoke over your spices as an offering and to cleanse them. Now I usually do that, and I've done did a smoke cleansing when it comes to my candles as well. This all depends, whatever you have on hand. You use chili powder, they're good too. What is that? I don't know what that is. Chili pods? Chili pods? What's the best spices for cleansing? And Black Eyed Peas said something about I use chili pods. Allspice too, like she said. See, it's a variety of us, but we got so used to that cinnamon. Y'all sleeping on cloves. Baby, I will be burning me some cloves in my house. I would be making me a pot with some cloves in there to get my house smelling like that. I might put a little bit of cinnamon in there and boil it through my house to get the scent going through there. Don't sleep because cloves are strong. Think about that. The smell. Burn them as incense, and you'll see how strong that clove smell is, especially when you're doing money work. especially when you're doing money work. So cloves come in too, and allspice too. When you burn that, that has a good smell. Or you can boil it on your stove, make you like a potpourri, a little potpourri mix on the stove, and just burn it, boil it, and get it, burning through the house. So again, there's so many ways you can do your work. It's not one size fit all. I know y'all seen that thing blowing the cinnamon out the door, and y'all done just ran with it. Blowing the cinnamon in the house. You know, one of my rituals was to do a potpourri every first of the month, or I just burn it every Thursday or whatever, because Thursday's the money day, and I put cinnamon, cloves, and just burn it, let it smell all through the house, because I want to attract these energies inside the house as well. You know, you could do the cinnamon by the door. You could even lay a trick and do cinnamon and do a cinnamon run on your door. Just lay it in front of the door where you can attract it. On the one side, you had the salt where can't nobody get in, and the other side, you had the cinnamon where you attract get in. It's just so many ways to do your work. You don't have to do it the way people tell you to do it on here. That's just one way. Okay, clothes are very versatile. Yes, they are. So that's just one way. So that's why I say stop letting other folks show you stuff. Because if you sit down long enough, your ancestors gonna be teaching you how to do stuff. You like, damn, I should have did it like that the first time, but I seen this on thing, and I just went with it. But if your answer, you sit down and let your ancestors tell you, they're gonna tell you a better way. That is somebody else's magic. And their ancestors, they did it where it was reasonable, it was simple. Okay. How would you work with Spanish mouse? I've never worked with Spanish mouse before, but I've known people. The only thing I know, and I'm sure other people have used Spanish mouse in other ways, but I would use them in maybe some mojo bags, or I would use it in a doll, making puppets. That's me. But everybody is different how they will use that Spanish mouse. You might use it different. And hey, it's not said wrong. It might work for you. Just because I use it like that don't mean you can't use it another way. But that's how I would use Spanish mouse if I was doing a puppet, or doing some type of particular type of mojo bag. That's just me. But everybody's different. I would again, because again, this is my perspective, because we just having a discussion here now, and I like these type of discussions. But when you look at a mojo bag and you look at a puppet, the thing with the puppet, you're trying to get it organic and become alive. And Spanish mouse is alive. And so when I look at Spanish mouse, when I look at herbs, because the herbs are alive, that's how I look at it. Everything is a spirit. That's just me. This hoodoo. I have to look at it from the perspective and the spiritual lens of our ancestors. So when I look at Spanish mouse, and that's just for me, somebody else may be different. I want my bag to be alive. That's the goal, because I want it working for me. So I want as many components in there that's going to amplify the ashe of my mojo bag. It don't have to be a lot, but I want components in there that's going to um amplify the ashe of my mojo bag. And I know that herbs, especially like Spanish mouse, um, they were used for that. And that's just again, your reason may be different. Now you might go down somewhere else in Florida somewhere and it's totally different. But that's just my perspective. Hey, the homeschooler, how you doing, sweetheart? I have a bowl of ashes after burning incense. Can you use the ashes for something else? Yeah, if you want to. Girl, you can do anything you want to in your practice, honey. With me, I know I have used, like, it depending on what it is. Like if I have some ashes that I have burned on my ancestor altar, and I know I have been using that for prayer or whatever, I might make a powder. I might make a powder and use that powder or whatever and use it on my candle work. Like nothing has to go to waste in your hoodoo. Like nothing has to go to waste. You can it's about creativity and being able to transmute it, It's alchemy and all of that. You know, that's like I have some petitions, that have burned. I'm not gonna throw them ashes away. I'm gonna figure out another way. I may want a powder, make a powder in there. Um, Pray over that powder and use it for some, to lay a trick or do some attraction. You can use it in any kind of way you want to use it. Some of our ancestors used to use Bible verses. What was that? They would write Bible verses on the paper and then soak it in the water and bless it with the water and then drink it. You had some of our ancestors would write out. That again, that's that hoodoo paper magic. They would write out what they wanted or write out different petitions and then walk on them. They even did domination work like that too. Write people name in the shoe and then walk on it. you know. So it's just, again, really thinking through the lens of our ancestors, looking at sympathetic and empathetic magic. Oh, thank you. And being able to apply it. Again, it's just really simple. You understand? So that's how our ancestors worked it. Okay. And then behind it, you know, I can't stress enough, because you're gonna hear me. I'm gonna bang this in your head. I'm gonna bang ancestors veneration in your head. I'm gonna bang because I want you to, I want you to succeed. I'm gonna bang ancestors veneration in your head. I'm gonna bang your being on time for your rituals. I'm gonna bang that in your head. Doing your shadow work, I'm gonna bang that in your head. Okay. Again, raising your ashe and your frequency so you can be able to tap into your magic. Uh, you can find the link in this bio. In the link tree is Spiritual Roots Hoodoo Community on Patreon. Okay, you should be able to find the link up there. All right, but you know, that's basically what I'm going to recommend over there. And you're going to put your own things together. I just like I gave Black Eyed P my insight on Spanish Mouse. You see, I said that was my perspective. You never know, your ancestors may tell you to do something totally different. Even when you show me your magic and you show it to them, like, oh, okay, all right. And I might give you some insight or give you an experience that I had with it, and it, if it don't work, if it don't apply, let it fly, you know. But again, giving my insight, again, my job is to get you comfortable with practicing your magic. No magic is wrong as long as it makes sense to you. And we kind of go through that when we go through the Kabbalah. Over there, we talk about the Kabbalah because, again, we're we are conditioning our mind to magic. You understand me? Because this is a consciousness too, being able to break through those barriers as well. And working your magic is a formality of doing that. It's a formality of doing that. And the more you do your rituals, uh, the more you're creating, you're getting into that magic sphere. You're penetrating that magic sphere, and you're coming in contact with your ancestors who has helped grounding your magic, opening these gates of magic so your petitions can be heard. That's why we work with our ancestors. They clear the way. As you go to praying and stuff, and you got this other negative energy that's blocking your stuff, it may not even reach the target. But if you got your ancestors and your spirit guides, they're gonna be opening up that gate. So you got a clear way of going in there. Now, block can look like, if you got fears and all that stuff going on in there, then you're gonna have to go back to the forefront and start doing your baths, start doing your shadow work, start working, being more consistent at your rituals and calling on them to help you heal and remove some of those blocks. Can you give insight on doing blockbuster and candles and making sure to just rid all the negativity with removing blocks off of yourself? Of course, we talked about that over there at that's one of the other things I talked about, road opening work. And I think I've talked about it here with you guys, but I will talk about it again. Road opening work, blockbuster work. Before you do road opening work, I tell everybody you might see beautiful road opening works here. Everybody loves the road opening work. Nobody wants to talk about the blockbuster work. You know why? Because the blockbuster work is shadow work. You need to get all that stuff out the way, all these fears, whatever you holding you back, you feeling unworthy, you got low self-esteem. I don't know what's going on with you. You won't know what's going on to you till you start getting that blockbuster, and that blockbuster may go on. You think this overnight. No, sometime this work may take 7 days in a row. You might have to do a spiritual bath 7 days in a row. You might have to repeat some psalms and do some psalms work a couple of days in a row. You might have to get up and do ritual work at a certain time to remove these blocks. Okay. And then when you feel that shift, that is over, then go on and do the road opening work. You see, a lot of people do a lot of road opening work and it's blocked. But we want to break all that up. So when we do the road opening work, we got a clear path. We're clear. You understand me? See how it makes sense? Because it's psycho spiritual as well. And when we look at Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism, because our ancestors adopted that, and we look at how they view the esoteric meaning of the Bible from the Hoodoo perspective. We see that our ancestors' magic was steeped in a lot of mysticism as well. Again, mysticism is about tapping into your magic. When we talk about mysticism, it is a unique magic that all of us have. And where is it at? It's in the subconscious. It's in the subconscious. And the rituals are helping you access that. I kind of go over that, and that's why I tell you all the time your mind has got to be right, because most of these interactions you're going to have, spirit is going to be telepathically communicating when you learn how to shut your mouth. You're going to be doing a lot of shutting your mouth. Oh, thank you, Gerksane. Thank you. Where do we start? I've been looking into hoodoo ever since last year after my boyfriend died, but my ancestors have been pushing me toward hoodoo since before. I just don't know where to start. Well, you can go to the link. Should be a link in our, what is that, in our bio there on YouTube on the channel, where you can go straight over to Patreon to our Spiritual Roots Hoodoo community and get started doing your shadow work first. You hearing this, and you're gonna hear me say that every time I do a review about the ancestors. Okay, and get started with your ancestors. Start there. That's the foundation. That's the soil, beloved. Start healing. Start elevating yourself and loving yourself. That's the place to start. And shadow work is where it is. I think I'm ready to go over there on the Conjure on Patreon. I don't know, Blair. You think you ready for that? Cause we're gonna go a little deep with that. Okay, we are gonna be, especially when we get to talking about these and this is such a mixed topic, and it was among some of the theologists and philosophers when we get to, and occultists when we get to looking at the goetic spirits. A shadow work is healing work. It is ancestors work. It is healing. It is inner child work. It is diving into you and your family and finding out what frequency you were born on. Because you get into that shadow work, you're gonna find out what frequency you was born on. Is your ancestors are the ones who ignite, or do they need somebody to light their flame? You gonna learn who you are and what energy, what frequency that you're on when you're on that. And the thing is in shadow work is to get your frequency high enough to work with your guardian angel and your elevated ancestors. Because some of these ancestors, a lot of them, the ones that I'm going to recommend you work with, they are going to be elevated ancestors, and a lot of them are angelic light. We also talk about how to work with the saints over there. There is a part uh meshed into hoodoo as well. So, but your main thing on the ritual mastery side is getting you to work with saints, teaching you how to be consistent at working with archangels and getting that frequency elevated so you can tap into this magic. That's important, getting you consistent on there because you're going to see results. I go in this in more detail over there where we talk about archangels and talk about ritual and how to work with some of these energies over there, especially archangels. Archangels um, are really good to have on your side because they're going to help you get your mind together. They're going to help you heal mentally, emotionally. This energy, it is a beautiful energy to work with. I had uh was working doing my ritual work last night, and I had an awesome experience working with Archangel Michael, doing some cord cutting and protection work on myself, and it was such a beautiful experience. And you will feel them. They will show up in meditation, doing visual meditation. Again, every time we go in and do visual meditation, we're strengthening our magic. We're strengthening our third eye every time we do that, because these visualization, imagination, that is where the spiritual realm exists. Okay, that's where it is. And so if you're not able to we need to get that going, get you consistent in that. Again, we are conditioning the mind to tap into its magic. That's why the rituals are important. The protection is important, and connecting with your ancestors, because that's your first form of psychic ability and mediumship. They're going to teach you how to conversate with spirits, and some of them will uh, will be your interpreter or make intercession for you when it comes to contacting other spirits. We building our team here. It's like building your own team. That's what this is. We're going to be aware of building our team, and we want good people on our team. And this time you get to choose who on your team. That's what this is about. Okay. Hi, Pet Jeremiah. Hi, beautiful goddess 1994. Oh yeah, I just got to answer your question. You're welcome, beautiful goddess 1994. Okay. Uh, I have felt I have felt and got downloads from ancestors. I just feel like I get dissonance too easily by worldly stuff. Again, getting by yourself, and they probably been telling you to get somewhere and sit down. You probably it's time for you probably do some energetic boundaries, and then look at the people that you around, because if you around some they don't want you around, they ain't got nothing to say to you. See, it's the way you got to live too. If you want them ancestors to be taking care of you, when they tell you do something, you're gonna have to listen. Oh, thank you. I don't know what that means, but thank you, Pet Jeremiah. Knowing them and not having a physical connection. My ancestors visit. Okay, now we break that down when we go through ancestral medicine. We break that down because see, what a lot of people, I go so glad you brought that up, Black IP. Yes, yes, yes. It's not just family members. You got spiritual ancestors that chose to adopt you and they are looking over you. So when we look at ancestors, it's such a wide scope. It's such a wide scope. And I broke that down, and we was going through ancestral medicine. I'm gonna do I can use Tupac uh, as an example. Say you want to be a rapper or whatever. Tupac is not your blood relative, but he said, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna guide you. I'm gonna be your spiritual ancestors. I'm gonna guide you. I'm going to adopt you, and I'm going to work in your spiritual court for you. You have ancestors do that. They have an affinity to you, and they want to work with you, so they adopt you. Okay? So you have ancestors like that too that look out for you. You have close family members that whoever nurtured you and took care of you and who looked out for you, that's your ancestors. You have ancestors on the land. When you venerate the land and you're good to the land and you're going out there putting out offerings at trees, at rivers, and you honor them ancestors, you got them ancestors too. They see you. Them elders, those are ancestors. Those are shamans. They see you. So this is such a vast topic when we get to talking about ancestors. And like I say, when you get over there in the lecture, I break all of that down for you. Like I'm going to make sure that you understand you can work with your ancestors and it's not just family, especially when you get to looking at your spiritual court and you start looking at the vastness of ancestors. You have limited to family, but the it's much bigger than that. Contrary to what people have been telling you here, it's much bigger than that. Okay. Ifa they call it, in Ifa they call it the Egungun, the most elevated ancestors. We call them here in Hoodoo. But you have a variety of ancestors. Okay? It's not just family. You got ancestors that range back, you know, 2 to 3,000 years. You got ancestors that go back that far. Okay? So don't just think about family. And again, I'm going to break that down over there because I want you to get comfortable with it. I want you to get grounded in it and start reaching out to those unknown ancestors, the most elevated unknown ancestors, the ones whose names are forgotten that walk with you, that are watching you and looking at you right now. You are do right. I read this book, and some ancestors are so old they took different aspects of nature. That's right. That's right. You go back to that land, you will say these are the most strongest, powerful ancestors to work with. And you'll see that in shamanism, that's the first thing they do is work with these spirits, the rock spirits, the tree spirits, the grass spirits. These are spirits. And you'll see that in shamanism. Like I said, when you get into hoodoo and working with ancestors, it started looking like shamanism. Okay. And you'll see that with all the material there. I try to take you slow because when we go into the spiritual science in this, there's a lot of components. Give me just one moment, you guys. Okay, y'all. Thank you. Okay, thank you. I'm gonna go on for a few more minutes and then I'm gonna close it out. I never saw you before, Queen. Just wanted to show you appreciation for what you do. Thank you, Pet Jeremiah. Okay, so when you get over there, you are really going to get your feet wet in ancestral veneration. Um, you're gonna know for sure and trust yourself. We cover so many things over there, and then when you start looking at hoodoo and how to get grounded in your practice, again, this is about forming you an outline and a regimen to keep you connected to your magic and your spiritual system. So we go over shamanism. We go over again. You're the healer. It's healing yourself first. That's basically what you're going to be doing. And after you've been successful in that, now I don't know if you're going to want to go off and be a practitioner after you tap into your own healing magic, because you're going to see that happen there. Okay, you're going to tap into your own healing magic when you get over there. Again, this is a process, and a lot of us don't understand how this process really works. But once you start being consistent at the ritual, once you start being consistent at taking care of yourself and working with your ancestors, you are going to see changes and shifts happen in your life. You're really going to see more synchronicities. You're going to be open to more synchronicity. But again, you have to be consistent. You get in whatever you put out. Uh, Gers sent uh the occult knowledge tier is $5, where you get literature and you get books. The ritual mastery is 10, and the collective conjure is $20. So it's very doable. Everything over there is doable. It is a community, more community based, where I offer mentorship. I offer other services and things over there for you. Now we're just going to be doing our meetup. I think in a day or so. It's listed there. I think it's on the 28th, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's on the 28th. So we meet up on the 28th again and introduce ourselves and kind of talk. And I think sometime next month we're probably going to start the workshops for different tiers. Different tiers. I know the ritual mastery. I'm gonna do a workshop with them, and then I and the collective conjure, we're gonna be doing a meet and greet or discussion or lecture together. Oh yeah, they gotta look like us. Absolutely. They have to look like us. You know, they have to look like us. I don't really care if you have to absolutely know, because I had this come up, and I'm not trying to be mean or ugly, but you have to absolutely know who you are as an African American, African among this diaspora. You understand me? I don't want you to be thinking, well, it was somebody that came in my dream, uh, and you don't look like me. Man, I can't go by that. Okay? There has to be definite. You definitely have to know where you come from. And I had that happen to me. Uh, look like us when you get over there, because this is a closed practice, because there's certain things that you're not going to be able to do. Like we getting ready to go into the Lama Damas. All that's ancestral. Some of these spirits you're not going to be able to work with. And we even when we go into the saints, and go more into our ancestral veneration, because you're going to go into voodoo, and then you might start running into other ancestral spirits. Like hoodoo gets vast, baby. You think you working with this amount of ancestors, and then you start finding out, when you start working with the voodoo, some of those deities, lords, are your ancestors too. Usually when your ancestors lead you to find work with them, that has been my experience, that you know they have an ancestral connection, some sort of ancestral connection. Hey, Red. I'm telling you, find out you related to them some type of way. There's these laws. So you need to follow your ancestors when they telling you to work with certain laws, certain energies, a certain. They might even lead you to work with a different spiritual system. Because when you go into looking at the Lama Dama, that's a whole different spiritual system. But when the closer you look at that spiritual system, it functions almost like hoodoo. I said, "Oh my gosh, is this another form of hoodoo?" So really, and we break that down when we go into the Lama Damas, okay? And that's why it's not safe for we. You think that we're saying this to be mean? No, we're saying this to protect you, because some of these spirits don't even want to talk to you or show up for you. I think Lama Dama is one of them. She don't want to talk to you. She don't want to talk to you. You understand me? You get yourself messed up over here trying to do something. You got your own stuff and it worked just fine. That's why I don't understand it. I don't know why you want to jump over here because you got your own stuff and it works just fine. This one is just closed. Some of them is just closed to you. I know you used to going in and out of stores and public stores and getting what you want, but this ain't that. I have to be absolutely clear. I don't care about no dream. I don't care about that. If you don't identify with the culture and the historical trauma that we have experienced, then this is closed. Okay? This is for people of the African diaspora experience. Our ancestors had experience in that has impacted us and still impacting us today. That's the structure and history around hoodoo. I'm so sorry. I don't know. My thing is, I just really don't understand because I don't go to all your group. I remember they had me in a palm color witch group, and I didn't want to be in there. I didn't want to be in there with them people. I did not. I left. I don't want to be in there. I don't care what you got. I ain't trying to find out what you got going on because I know it ain't for me. It's not for me. That's for you. Same thing with the new age. I don't try to keep up with that and uh, whatever they be doing with that channeling. I don't know. I don't try to do that. I stay right over here on the side of my ancestors. Whatever my ancestors want me to do, that's enough for me. This side is enough. So there's no reason for me to reach out and do anything else because, you know, gaining more knowledge and growing in my hoodoo practice is a full-time job. And I'm just scratching the surface. There's still other things the ancestors has to teach us. We are students in this. But hey, I don't get in y'all stuff. I just don't. I just don't see the reason for it. Why you want to do it? Why you want to do that? I can't wrap my mind around that. Folks have said it was closed, it's dangerous for you, but you still want to come in here and fish and tell me you got, you know, I don't care if you got your DNA got 2% of African American. No, you have not lived this experience. I'm sorry, I just can't do it. And to them ancestors, if you got that 2%, let them 2% guide you on your own. But I'm not giving you nothing over here. Let them teach you. I just can't go by that. I just can't. I do visual meditation. Again, do what's comfortable for you. I do journey work. I don't have a problem sitting here 20 or 30 minutes. I also used to do walk meditations. Sometimes walking, doing something repetitive will send you into a meditative state. Some people dance and put them in a meditative state. Dance and put them in a meditative state. So it just all, again, finding out what's worked for you. And our ancestors did that too. They danced to go into higher states of consciousness. Again, learning how to alter that consciousness. Some people do ayahuasca. You saw that in Black Panther. If that's what it takes for you to get deeper, that's for me. I would love to try that. I haven't tried that yet, but I would love to go deeper and see what kind of ancestral medicine can I pull out. What kind of parts of myself I can heal. Because the deeper you can go with this, um, the more healing that you can do too. And the better, the stronger you're gonna be in your spiritual practice. I'm ready to start process of knowing. Okay, get over there to Patreon, start following your ancestors, start being consistent. You can get that popping. Thank you. I didn't know about this. Yes, yes, yes. So that's gonna be important. I can't bang that in your head enough. And if somebody's trying to, that's one thing too. I've seen on, uh, I've seen in some places, ancestor veneration is not complicated. It is absolutely not If somebody trying to complicate that for you, then no, 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 no. It's complicated. How can something so easy be that? It's not complicated. All you got to do is be consistent and put in time. And here, one of the reasons I feel like they got in this, our ancestors had more time than money, and they knew how to transmute their time into abundance. That's just the way I look at it. And that's the time you got to put in. You want to get something out of it, you have to put in time and consistency. This is work. Altar work is work. It's more than putting on little bitty glittery this and some little herbs on this. And no, you might have to do that. Get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 14 days in a row. And if you think that something just gonna happen the next day with hoodoo, you don't need to be coming over here. Because this practice takes work and being consistent. Thank you. I didn't know about this. Okay, I was looking for how to do that. How to do what? Ancestral lineage. If you're walking, want to work more with your ancestors, Tina Cherry 44. Like I said, we're dropping some great lectures, information, literature over there on ancestors veneration, so you can start looking over that stuff and educating yourself and getting comfortable and confident in your ancestral practice. And this is a global thing, you guys. That's why I understand why people make it complicated. People I come here, I'm in Thailand, and they got altars everywhere. They're always honoring their ancestors. And if sometimes I put water on the altar or put a drink up on the altar, they got public altars everywhere because I'm under the ancestors on this land. You understand me? I just left my ancestors' land and I'm coming to this. These are my elders, so I have to respect the ancestors here and acknowledge them. So I make sure, I put something on that altar. I might put some, water. I might put a drink on there again because I want to keep my slate clean with them. I need help. I'm on y'all land. You know what I'm saying? I'm making friends with these ancestors. I know how to respect my elders. My ancestors taught me better. You know, I had somebody saying they do the same thing after they get off a flight. They honor the land ancestors, and that's the respectful thing to do because you want your roads to be open. You want to be in alignment with them spirits there, and you want them to be working with your ancestors again, paying respect. This is just a way of respect. Yes, and I know I know it's beautiful out there. It is. So again, respecting, and this is a wide global thing, and we talk about this. I just got through dropping a lecture about that, how this is a global thing, ancestors veneration across the globe, and how indigenous cultures have been doing this for hundreds of thousands of years. And it was also paired with shamanism, our healers. Now, if you're interested in doing, because they've made that popular, if you're interested in doing shamanic work, I would say start looking at path working because a lot of shamans, when they went in to heal people, they already had a path working set up. What is a path working? They already had like archetypes, uh, what else I want to say? Visualizations set up so they can go into another person's consciousness or they can go into this same realm and meet up with this person and start doing some healing work on that realm. Okay. And you have some shamans through initiations, they'll talk you through a path working. You'll have that in some. I remember I used to do this, and this is a long time ago when I used to do be a meditation facilitator, and I used to do this kind of visualization meditation with people. I've done it, and I've done it in a long time, but I do have some meditations on the YouTube channel that a lot of people have enjoyed there. And so I got into making guided meditations, but for a while I was doing in person, um, doing facilitating people through visual meditation, and I was pretty good at it. Okay, because I know, again, my mind lives in the spiritual realm. I can see the ancestor. I can see it in my mind's eye. Okay, I can visualize uh, a realm, a place, and guide you through it where it's real in your imagination. Again, this is all consciousness and all of us connected with it. So once I start giving you a path working, and we're both setting this up in these constructs up in our mind, Inception is a really good movie that kind of explains what I'm talking about. Okay, and path working is that bridge to tap into a bigger the all consciousnesses. That's where we're doing. That's where the magic at. That's where the realm of possibilities are at. Okay, and I kind of talked about that when I talked about going to the upper world and the lower world, and how going in the lower world we can do a lot of healing too. So you'll probably want to do that too if you're doing any type of healing work. You can go see those ancestors. You can climb up the shamanic tree. You can go down the shamanic tree. You can go into the middle world, and those ancestors will help you do a lot of core healing. Do you talk about path work on Patreon? I haven't talked about it in it. You know what? I haven't talked about it, but I'm gonna say this: some of that path working are in the ancestors book, where it sets you up to talk to set up your own meditation, your own guided meditation. I think I did go over that in the book Ancestral Medicine. It teaches you, it's telling you how to set up your own guided meditation and go in and meet your ancestors. Hello, Marlo Tyson. Thank you. You're gonna get what you need over there, beautiful goddess 1994. Okay. So, yeah, and you'll see that in some ancestral veneration books or ancestor books, they are going to talk about setting up meditation, psycho pumps. I think I had that in one of my ancestral guidebooks that I wrote. I put in some psycho pumps that you can work in with there. I put in some path workings in some of the books that I had written to help you connect with your ancestors. And that I'm doing fine, Marlo Tyson. How are you? Okay, Gerksy Aunt. I see you over there at Patreon. Look around, take a look around, look at everything. You're gonna find with it, a lot of the things are gonna be very resourceful to you over there. Okay. But again, getting you soaked in ancestor work and getting you uh anchored into your imagination, because that's the place where spirit is. That is the place where magic happens, because the realm of possibility, these things haven't manifested yet. So when you go over there, you get a chance to work with these elements when you're over there. Okay. Visual meditation, again, when you look at that visual meditation, again, it's almost like virtual reality, like they're trying to get you into this virtual reality. You got your own virtual reality, is your mind. And one thing I was looking at back in the old days when they didn't have TV, these people had to have the most creative imagination to listen to radio shows, because back then in the day they didn't have TV. You listened to the radio show, and your imagination was the screen. So, I would say too, read a lot of stories, because stories that are very descriptive help you with your visualization. So if you want help with that, I know when I would read certain books, and this might be weird to other people, but when I would read certain books and I wanted to know about ancestors, it was helping me time jump into those realities and talk to those ancestors. I don't know if that makes sense to you. I started having experiences where I was going back through time through my consciousness. Books are powerful. Again, when you start reading these things, because the mind is already going to be trying to make a link. The mind is already going to be trying to make a link. And I found myself traveling through time and being able to connect with certain ancestors by looking at their history, looking at what happened to them. And I was able to find out things that the book never said. That's just how it worked for me. Again, the more descriptive you can be when you read some of this book, your mind will already start setting up visualizations for you when you read some of this stuff. And that's another way too to build your visualization when you go into meditation. I'm better than good. You can call me by my first name, Marlo. Okay. Nice to meet you, Marlo. But that's how powerful it is. And I think a lot of people miss that. That is where the magic is. So, um finding that perfect key, how to unlock that imagination, that visualization, and work on it. And if you're not good at it, start with 2 minutes, start with 1 minute until you can make it up. At least do a 20-minute visualization sitting. And it might not happen for you. You might go walking and go into a full trance. Some people do that and just go into a trance. You might do that. I used to have days where I just walk and do trance work, and my mind's eye, I'm having all these types of visualizations, that's imagery that I see in my mind. Again, that's the third eye you're seeing with that eye. And it strengthens that third eye too, the more you can do that. Okay. But visualization, shamanic work is really going to be a good medium in helping you connect with your ancestors. Document what helps me is I began to document my experience, what I had in meditation. And then after my sitting, we're doing some work with my ancestors doing meditation. I would do a reading to confirm what they told me, and usually it would be correct. The reading it was tripping me out. So again, this is a science. You can perfect it, but you have to document it and put some time into it. You want to test the theory. Like I said, I began to again have these meditation experiences and then confirm them with tarot readings, and the tarot readings would be exactly like the experience I had in meditation, confirming the messages that I got from ancestors. So again, this is a spiritual science, and you can get comfortable in it, you can get grounded in it. But again, there is steps. Take consistency, document, take time out. Just like you would sit, just like some of these people sit up in this church 2 or 3 hours. You can spend that time on yourself and have your own church and kind of start to uh get aligned on your path. It's going to take work, but the work that you put in, it's going to be worth all the benefits. Okay? This is so real soul work. This is real spiritual work. Um and two, you are amplifying your gifts and your communication with your ancestors when you do this. Okay. So any more questions about ancestors veneration? I hope that answered your question about yeah, he said we fully understand. Okay, so again, your mind is your most important tool on this path, and your mouth. Because when you first get in here uh, and really get deep in your ancestral practice, you're going to be closing your mouth a lot because you have to learn, and you're learning to listen. And the more you be quiet, the louder spirit is. Because again, we're refining our spiritual transmitter, which is our mind, and we're improving our conscious contact with our higher power, our ancestors. So we're doing that. And once you get quiet and start doing the work, this the spiritual communication will amplify. You know, I know a lot of us too. I had to learn it too, especially when you first start. You want to tell your ancestors all your ambitions, all your dreams, everything you want to do. You know, but did you listen to anything they said while you was sitting there? You know, so again, changing, making the conversation two-sided, okay, instead of one-sided. Listening, and also having a conversation with them too. And again, if you think that you have to be perfect to do this, you don't want to go there because your life is not right now with your ancestors, this is when you need to go. Because that's probably what's gonna make it better. I'm telling you now, if you're waiting to get right, I'm gonna wait till I do this, and I know you probably need to. You need to do it now because that's what's gonna make your life better. So if you're looking for a way where you think I'm gonna get right first and all that, you're gonna get right as soon as you get there. Okay? Got these C's in my mouth. I'm sorry. You're gonna get right when you get to that ancestor out. You need to go there regular. You need to go up toe up. They know you toe up anyway. So who you playing with? This ain't the church. This is very different from the church. You can't hide from no spirit. You can't fool no spirit. This is very different. You can fool some people, but you ain't gonna be fooling no spirit because they looking right there at you. So ain't no sense in up there shucking and jiving. And you see, that's why a lot of people jump back into religion, because you got the shucking and jiving that you do in religion, you ain't gonna do that over here. If you ain't never had no integrity, if you've never had no compassion, grace, and mercy, you gonna get some over here on this side. You gonna get it over here. You may not get it in the church, but you gonna walk the walk. You gonna talk the talk over here. And so that's what scares some people when they actually have to go just look at themselves and do some work. Oh no, they want to go back to church. That's what they say. They said you scared, go to church. I guess that's what they do. Okay, so you'll see a lot of people doing it, but there's nothing spooky about the ancestors. It's nothing spooky about it. I think the only spooky thing about it is they show up and show out. And shut your mouth. When you see them show up and show out, you shut your mouth. And that's the spookiest thing about it because they work. It works. You come in contact with them. You actually come in contact with your aunt. That's the only spooky thing. And I like that. I like to see something that I put in. I put in the work. I communicate with you, and I get back feedback. Oh my gosh, that's how that works. Now, if you're not used to nothing working, if you just used to, you know, just blowing in the wind, and you can stay where you are, wherever you are. But if you want make some sense of some things, and you want to really understand your ancestors, and you want to deepen your practice, and I help you do it safely. I tell you right off the bat, do not put family members on your altar. Don't do that. You'll see it being said. I'm not the only one that said. A lot of people that's rare rounded in ancestors work, they will tell you that. Do not put family members on your don't do that. You need to go out and work with the healthiest ones. Okay? You do that later. Got to get yourself healthy first. Make sure you're coming in with healthy ancestors, getting yourself in alignment with your ashay. Yeah, that's what I said, Microwave. If they're scared, go to church. That's what they do. What's an altar? An altar is a house for your spirits and your spirits to live and for you to uh reverence and honor them. That is an altar. Now, for me, what an altar does for me, I can when I set up an altar, it shifts the energy in the house where it attracts in more positivity. Okay? Where those ancestors, your spirit guides and guardian angels can always consistently be shifted in positive energy into your home on that altar. When I go to my altar, I feel peace. That's what I should be feeling. I'm able to go into again this altar. It alter my consciousness where I can go into the spiritual realm and know that I'm not alone instantly when I get to that altar because I know that I have protection. I know I'm supported. I know I'm guided. To me, it's my safety, it's my peace. And you may feel that the longer you have your altar up. And the more you adorn it, it's just something about it. Cause honey, you got the ancestor altar. It looks simple at first. Cause mine looked simple at first. And honey, it just got bigger. I started buying different type of tablecloths, keeping fresh flowers on there. I mean, I'm just I'm just adorning that altar. And then when I was coming in contact with it, the feeling that came over me, again, putting energy into it and adorning it. And your ancestors love that. It's a sweetness that happens between you two when you do that. I was buying them, I bought them an ancestor staff. I mean, I decorate that altar. I had the little skulls with flowers all on it. And then I bought them a little tablecloth with flowers on it. Then I found this beautiful white vase with flowers on it. Everything was just coming together on that altar, So it would become more elaborate, and they'll be moving you to get things. You know that's them working through you. So it's such a symbiotic relationship. Okay, our ancestors is working through you. I promise. I hope they are working, working through me. And because there is strength in your ancestors, I promise you. And you can work with healthy ancestors, and they do want the very best for you. You are the priestess and the priest of your ancestral lineage once you wake up and start doing this work and start perfecting your magic, because you're perfecting the magic of your ancestors and they want to help you in that. Greetings. Yes, ma'am. I sit at my altar always and fall asleep in that room. Yep. They are smiling at me every day. Yes, they are. Again, you know, taking your time and conversation. And you can do that for a while. If you decide that's what you want to do, you just want to work with your ancestors, you're fine with that. Um, and if you want to do, just work with them, that's fine. If you decide, hey, I'm ready to tap into my magic, I'm ready to get serious about my ritual, I take you, there's information there so you can get on your rituals, and we teach you how to work with archangels safely. And I go through a full lecture at doing those rituals and being consistent with it. I would say get on top of that because I work with archangels for a long time before I work with ancestors. They made themselves known to me. Uh, I still go back to the first time they told me, and I have that book over there on Patreon. Companions, working angels, companions, and magic. Honey, I remember that book. This about almost 30 years ago when they gave me that book. That book fell off a shelf in the bookstore and landed in front of me, and it's been the best reference book ever with engaging with archangels and ancestors. And I had that book for a while, and one day I read that book, and that book was talking about ancestors. I was like, oh my God, I'm supposed to be working with ancestors too, you know? And that's when I start working with ancestors, and immediately I start seeing synchronicities. It seemed like when you start working with them, you're sincere and you're talking at the altar, you're gonna start seeing synchronicities. It's gonna be undeniable. You're not gonna be, no way to refute it because it's gonna be undeniable with the synchronicities they start showing up. It'll almost scare you. I've seen it in readings. It come up in readings. They have they do stuff in readings. Um, and then in your life when you asking them to do something and you really, really need it, they will show up, you know. And that's a great experience when you have that sort of support. Okay. So again, it's not spooky. You they're walking with you there, and again, you're learning how to work with them, communicate with them, and start building a relationship with them, with the healthy ones. Okay. And contrary to what you see on here, folks putting family members on their altars and stuff. And then what I be looking at some of these folks, I ain't. Ooh, some of them, they need work, and that family member didn't do their work for they passed away. And what's gonna happen? You gonna take on some of that energetic stuff, and they're gonna keep you in a karmic loop if you don't get yourself together. Put healthy ones on there. Them folks, they still got to do soul work when they cross over, and they haven't did any of this work. They didn't do any ancestors work when they was here. They didn't venerate any ancestors here. Some of them didn't, recognize their own patterns and behaviors, and then see the impact of their behaviors that had on their families, the trauma that they did. Some of them don't even realize it. So again, don't do that, beloved, until you do your shadow work, and connect with healthy ancestors first. Don't put no family members on there yet until you do your shadow work. Okay, and you connect with these older ancestors, the safe one, the egungun, the saints. Okay, because some of these family members, they don't even like you. Some of them don't like you. They ain't got no soul. They haven't did any soul work. They still caught in their ego. They some of them pass over like that. And they had the same personalities they passed away in. They have the same personality when they turn into spirits. They have not been there long enough to do any elevation and progression work on themselves. So no, I don't want nothing like that on my altar. Okay, I want my altar to be clean. I want pure spirits to be working with me. You can work with those family members if you want to, but for me, it's gonna keep you in the loop. Everybody that I've seen do that, I can tell that they have not did any soul work. They're kind of still stuck in that loop because you are using recent family members, not healthy ancestors. Okay, that's important. I have to emphasize that with you, and you want to get in alignment with them. Now, with these ancestors, you can't be raggedy. You understand? Because they getting you in alignment and universal alignment to use your magic, and you have to be in an alignment to be able to access your magic. Okay, especially if they're gonna be making intercession for you and keeping your magic protected so it can reach that magical realm. you know. Or you can do a hit and miss with your family members that I don't want her to have that. They may be jealous of you and don't even want you to have that. I'm saying, so I'm telling you, uh, the same thing applies in the physical realm. It applies in the spiritual realm too. Okay, that's right, Ricky. Activate. So, and you can do it in a healthy way. You do not have to be afraid. I started out like that. My ancestors started taking me down there to the mounds. I connected with those land ancestors first. And I was having some synchronicities and powered experiences. Now, I didn't know much about ancestor veneration. I was doing this on my own. I was following my ancestors. And see, I'm telling you from my experience, the wisdom I have gained by doing my work. They guided me in how to do. And then later they start, uh, you know, bringing in books that confirm everything they told me. It's been in reverse with my ancestors, and that me and them have had exchanges about that because that has made me upset sometime with them, and they have had to tell me you don't know nothing, and you need to sit down and be quiet, and you don't need, we're showing you this way. Now we'll give you this book to confirm this, but we know what we doing. You just need to trust it. This is about building your faith. They had to sit down and tell me that I was so upset with them, you know, because it doesn't. Again, it doesn't feel good to me. Uh, because I like to know, I like to see, and so my ancestors have to deal with me a different type of way. They, like they say, we want you to build up your spiritual muscles and have faith and trust in us. We don't want you no. We want you to know you hearing us. You hearing us just fine. Ain't nothing wrong with your hearing. Ain't nothing wrong with your hearing. And this would get me upset sometime. I'd be like, well, I really don't know. I feel like I'm on a tightrope about to run, about to fall off, and y'all, you ain't on no tightrope. You doing the right thing. So it's, again, if they lead you to do it, you can't get it wrong. And they was leading me the right way the whole time. Now I seen other people putting family members on their altar and stuff, but that's not how my ancestors did with me. That I would start picking up, you know, the artifacts that I was picking up. I knew it was to the land. Like I had one woman that gave me a black obsidian dagger she got from another man. She said he was a shaman that crossed over. That woman was from Florida. I didn't know that woman from Candy Paint. She gave me that dagger. I still have the dagger. Um, I was going to the land down there and doing rituals outside to the ancestors. I didn't know like why I like going doing rituals on the water to the ancestors. I would make these pretty little boxes and decorate these boxes and put oranges and apples and candles and incense in them and say this little prayer and put it on the water. Everything that I was doing, you know, uh, those are some of our spiritual practices, and going out under those ancestors on the land, going out meditating, uh, connecting with the land. They was guiding me to do that. So again, they'll guide you. Once you connect with the Agungun, the most enlightened ancestors, you're going to be surprised what type of ritual knowledge comes forth for you and what they'll have you doing. I trust it because they have not led me wrong yet. And I want you to have this experience so you can be sitting here saying the same damn thing. So you can say you're gonna be saying the same thing. You're gonna say Miss Penny didn't lie not one bit. These ancestors, honey, they show up, they show out, and they is real. And it's nothing spooky about it. You hear me? You're gonna have your own experience. And I can't wait till you have it. Because I'm gonna be telling you, open your mouth and tell it. Because your ancestors want this testimony. So go on and give it to them. Your ancestors is mighty and they great, and they are not dead. You hear me? They are not dead. They are alive, waiting to work with you. And you'll be surprised once you get consistent on that altar, all them synchronicities you're gonna have, you're gonna start seeing. And they got your butt, they'll forgive you and work with you. When with these other spirits, they'll get in your tail and won't forgive you. Okay, you need to work with them first before you start working with these other energies. They're gonna teach you how. Okay. And you need to know the etiquettes of spirit. You need to know that etiquette, and they're going to teach you. So jumping off trying to go and work with Oshun, and they don't want to be talking to you if you ain't got yourself together. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to talk to you. You ain't even right with your ancestors. You're not even right within. So how you think you're gonna sit there? You don't even know how to serve them. You're not even consistent on your own altar. You haven't even built up your own ashe. Them folks, them folks don't want to, have them people say, "Who your folks is? Who is your folks?" And you come where? Your folks ain't told us nothing about you. That's how it is. Same way. Same way. It's the same way, beloved. So there's nothing spooky about it. And if anybody's trying to make that complicated for you, I'm going to simplify for you. It's not. It is not. It is not. You have absolutely nothing to be afraid of. You can do this in a safe way. You can learn hoodoo in a safe way, being anchored in your ancestors. Okay. Like I said, the root work is a lot different from conjure because, again, I have to break that down. When you look at conjure, you know, you look at some and you looking at voodoo and looking at these other spirits. And voodoo is a good example, depending on which spirit that you're trying to communicate with. Now, the way I talk about it, I'm going to talk about it from uh, a voodoo perspective now, even though it's hoodoo, but I see some of the similarities in it. So that's why I'm going to talk about this. So you have cool spirits. They're easy to work with, like archangels and ancestors. Those are cool spirits. They're easy to appease. They're not going to really get upset with you if you make a mistake. Then you have fiery spirits. Some spirits that not that understanding. I think you'll see a lot of that on the conjure side too, especially when we start looking at the goetic spirits, which I go deeper into that in that book review on summoning spirits. And two, we go a little bit deeper. That's why when you get over there, your mind has to be together because you're going to be using your astral senses a lot in conjure. Like you use it over here on the cool side with root work, but with conjure, your mind have to be together because you don't know what type of volatile emotions or negative thought forms are going to come up when you're dealing with these spirits, because some of them have some of that energy with them. You understand what I'm talking about? That's why your mind got to be together. And if you already got oppressive spirits and all that stuff that you haven't cleared out yet, and then you get over there to conjure and you try to conjure with this spirit that's can be a little difficult, volatile to work with, that spirit can eat you alive. You understand me? So I have to be careful. Hi, Money Beauty. So I'm very careful and cautious and very aware when I am providing information because I want to be responsible too. And and since I'm teaching this, I have to be responsible for your spiritual well-being and give you uh full disclosure and make sure and emphasize you work safely with these spirits because after all, overall, I want you to do this safely. I want you to be spiritually healthy and safe when you do this. Okay. And so with the conjure side, you get exposed to not just the cool spirits, but you get a chance to look at the other spirits, the spirits that some of our ancestors use for doing curses and hexes. These for the that's for conjure it, is for the high steppers and the big steppers. Managed um they know how to protect themselves in a circle. They know how to cast a circle. They're used to casting a circle, which you kind of learn that over there on the ritual mastery side. But once you get on the country, you know how to cast the circle to protect yourself. Okay. You know how to do a full ceremony evocation to protect your circle and stand strong when you talking to a spirit. Okay. You can't be scared. And over there we talk about too, because you'll see that too. We talk about working with mirrors. You can also work with water when you're doing your conjuring. You can also work with mirrors as well. So we really kind of get deep when it comes to conjure over there. But like I said, you have some root workers that work with cool spirits and they've never had to work. They work with ancestral spirits. Um, they work with cool spirits and they've never had to, they've never had to go over here and do any conjure. And that's fine too, you know. But like I say, being responsible with that conjure. You got some people that jump in the conjure, they don't want the root work. They want to be working with these spirits. And I will say this again. I've seen people do that and they life be raggedy. You hear me? So them spirits, depending what they work on. You got some spirits on the countryside, they vibrate that low. But again, I don't recommend you do that. I want you to be healthy. Okay. And again, I'm not against any spirit because I know all of them got their purpose. Our ancestors worked with them and knew how to work with them for different purposes. Okay. So the root work, do all that, get your healing done, master all of that. If you decide you want to conjure, do some evocations and conjure and really start working on the astral realm that tough like that and doing evocations, then you can go into a conjure. But the way I break down working with conjure over there, even when I break it down when you're working with these entities, I'm going to tell you a safe way to do it so you don't jeopardize yourself. Especially when we go through the book Summoning Spirits by Castanos. I go in, I put a lot of safety measures in there. Sometimes they don't even mention in the book. That's why I do the lecture to put in safety mechanisms for you. Okay. But I don't see anything wrong with conjure. I know at some point we needed it, depending on what we needed to get done and who we need and what kind of justice we needed to get. You see that in Haiti as well. They work with petro spirits. They work with hot spirits, volatile spirits. Those were war spirits that helped them win that war, get their revolution. So these spirits do come in handy, um, when you need to get things done. Okay, so you got petros, hot spirits, volatile spirits, and then you got cool spirits. Hi, thank you so much for giving this information. I just came in the room. I wanted to. Okay. So if that's something that you're interested in, and again, I'm going to teach you the safe way. I'm going to take all the spookism out of it. I want to see you healthy because the healthier that you are mentally and emotionally, the more alignment that you're going to be in, and you're going to see better results in your magic. Okay. And I give you the science to hoodoo. I'm not giving you no spells. That's not the science behind it. Giving you spells and telling you spells is not helping you. You need to know the working components so you can work your own magic. Clarify, are ancestors from family a part of conjure? You got some ancestors that I think you're asking me did some ancestors conjure? Yeah, you got some people, some ancestors that were good conjure women and men. Yeah, they knew what they was doing. You got some that was talented. They knew how to do that conjure. And you are also too, I don't want to get it confused, but some in some areas they use root work, hoodoo, they use that interchangeably. But I'm here to tell you once you start breaking in, going into the spiritual science of hoodoo and looking at conjure and root work, even though they almost blur, they are different. Okay, they almost blur, but they're different, especially when it comes to the type of spirit you're trying to work with to get work done. Okay, they almost blur though, and I think that's why people try to use it interchangeably. But when we go in deeper and start looking at conjure, because conjure is summoning, you're summoning a spirit. Okay, that's what we're doing when we're conjuring, we're summoning, we're asking the spirit to come here and help us with this petition. And we do have that kind of authority. We do have that type of divine authority that's given to us. But if you haven't perfected it over there in root work, you know, I don't, again, doing it in the right way. Medicine women in my family. You said be careful. Does this include? Again, if you had healthy ancestors, some family members, and some of our family members are regular, but if you think that your ancestors were good and you think that there was nothing wrong with them, then you can try that. But I'll tell you this, Kenya, money, beauty, wellness. Who is that? Careful, does this include family ancestors? Start doing your shadow work first, and that's gonna tell you what kind of ancestors you got, your family you got. That's gonna let you know. That's gonna let you determine if you want to put them on your altar or not. Start doing some healing work and some shadow work, working with your inner child, looking at your childhood traumas, and you tell me whether or not that you want to put those family members on your altar. And I'm done with that. You take it from there. It's what happens. What you'll see happen is people put these family members on there and they never doing the shadow work. But if they were to do the shadow work and have those family members on there, they'll probably take them down. They'll probably remove them because they'll find out that's the root to some of the stuff that's going on with them. It's some people can do conjuring without it. Some people conjure outside. Um, but is it to my understanding when you're working with conjure, these you have to have a table. You have to have some type of table to attract that entity to you. A place, a house for to call it. I hope that makes sense to you. It has to perform in some type of way, some area. Now, some people, some of our ancestors, they do some of that outside. You'll see that in voodoo, you know. But at some point, you're gonna have to set up some type of altar, some type of setup out there where that spirit can come. You have to attract that spirit. So that's conjuring. Do we have to use altars and tools? So not our body being no, 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 no. We don't want that. Especially when you're conjuring, you know. Again, we go into conjuring some of these are different energies. They're not so much you don't want to be calling them in your body depending because of the frequency and the energies of some of these spirits. Okay. I've heard about wood tables. As far as my family, what is it? Yeah, I have a Bovita. Is that Bovita? Is that the thing where you like sit out the water and the candles? Am I understanding that right? Reiki activate? As far as my family, I would say no to putting them on the altar. I would not because again, they still have soul work to do when they pass over. And I just feel like they would be disrupting them from their soul work that they have to do. You know, now it'd be different if they had been passed away 50, 60 years. Even then, I would try to make contact. I wouldn't put them on the altar. I'd probably start talking to them and see if they come forward. Again, you want to be, careful about family members. And again, I know you think, and I hate that I have to have this conversation because people have come here and say, "Oh, ancestors, family, 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 family." No, we got to understand too. We had all that trauma, and some of our ancestors were affected by that, especially the baby boomers who were abusive verbally, mentally, and emotionally. Some of them were not nice people, and it's not their fault. But I don't want to put them on the altar because I feel like they still got some soul work to do because they passed away not even knowing they had that going on with them. My mother and grandmother passed 25 years ago. Okay. My thing with that, I'll probably talk to them and start praying for them And usually, if you start doing it, they'll start popping up in dreams. I wouldn't put them on the altar, but I start talking to them just to get a feel for them, to build some type of relationship where I could feel comfortable enough to put them on the altar. That's just my perspective. But hey, do what works for you. But that's been my understanding. Oh yeah, okay. Reiki activate said, yes, ma'am. Mine has 9 glasses of water, tea lights, white flower. That's the most beautiful elevating ceremony that you could do for your ancestors. That is so beautiful. And I talked about that in one of the lectures. Is doing a novena and doing a bovita. She's doing a bovita. And she says she's using tea light, white flowers. What a sweet, beautiful thing. What a, you know, that is another way to honor and elevate your ancestors if you knew how much that shift the energy for them. She says, and the cross, the crystals, and my cards too. You can add on stuff. Spirit will lead you. See, she's following her ancestors, but a bovita is a beautiful way to honor your ancestors. Some people use the 9 glasses. So I would, and again, this would be a great ritual for elevation. Something that you want to do for elevation, for them to honor them. And so that is a beautiful ritual. And another thing about the book reviews, you'll see many rituals in there that you can do with your ancestors. Again, finding out which one resonate with you, and whatever resonate with you, that's what your ancestors want. So trust that. Trust. I'm gonna keep telling you that over there too. When you say my ancestors told me to do this, what you think? Oh, I think you need to do what they told you to do, ma'am. Don't come telling me what you. I'm not gonna go against your ancestors. Matter of fact, every time you ask me, uh, can you work with the spirit? I'm gonna be like, did you ask your ancestors? I'm gonna go right back to your ancestors every time. I can't talk to my ancestors. Are you doing your shadow work? These are kind of answers I'm gonna come to you with. So every time you ask me a question, I'm gonna help you troubleshoot. Take you right back to plan A. Yes, they found all I needed for me at the Goodwill. Not expensive. They know me. Okay, be careful at that Goodwill though, baby. Be careful at that Goodwill. Sometimes you mess around trying to do something good for spirit, and you bring some more spirits home with you at that Goodwill. So be careful out there. And Marlo Tyson, usually the ones watching you are the ones you never met. Like, yep, money, beauty, wellness did not lie there. The ones you don't even know. I've seen ancestors I completely don't know. I have an ancestor, and I've seen them. I have 2 ancestors that I really don't know. But as I dived into the Lama Dama the other day, and because that lecture is about to drop July 1st. I said, "Oh my gosh, this old lady that I have, an older elder woman that is one of my spirit guides, and she talks elderly to me, and she has helped me with a lot of my anxiety and gaining patience. But she's an older woman, and she tells me things and shows me things. This is an older ancestor. Then I have this man ancestor. He is more like a warrior. Uh, he dresses like a warrior. He has this band on his arm. He has these markings on his face. He has a bald head. He wears like this loin cloth, like it's tribal. Uh, and like I said, he carries this stick with him. So I know there's 2 of them that I see often. These ancestral guys that I see when they pop up. Okay. So again, making sure that you trust what you see in your mind's eye. But that's what I see in my mind's eye. I see the older woman and a this man. He seemed like maybe he is his in his mid-30s, strong, muscular build. Okay. And I have never seen them before. I've never seen them before. I do see some resemblance in them when it comes to um the energy. I know that they're family, And see, I didn't know I had that gift either, where I can recognize there's something happens where I can recognize families I've never seen. That happened when I was in my 20s. It tripped my sister out because we didn't know this lady, and I kept telling her that lady was our relative. She was some kin to us, and my sister's like, "No, that lady ain't no kin." I said, I don't care what you saying." She said, "Penny, we don't even know that woman." I said, "I know that woman. I know on the inside of me." And see, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know that. Uh, I didn't know what was going on with me. Like I said, I've always had the gift of prophecy, premonition. That's always been with me as a child. I just never knew how it worked. It's just a knowing that happens, and that's crazy. Sometimes I cry about that. Um, but I kept telling my sister, I said, that lady said something kin to us. And I said, you know what? I'm going to prove it to you. I stopped talking one day and I walked up to this woman and I started talking to her and I started asking her about her family and who was her dad. And come to find out, her dad was my grandmother's first cousin. And my sister was floored. She said, "Oh my God, that woman really is our cousin. That woman really is some kin to us." She said, "How did you know?" I said, "I don't know. I just knew. I just knew that she was some kin to us. I knew she. And that happened to me again. I was at work, but this time I was spiritually aware. I was spiritually aware of the ancestors. I was spiritually aware that was going on with me. So when it started to happen, I knew I didn't question it. So it was this girl that came into our job. She was younger than me. I think she was about the same age as my oldest daughter. And soon as I came in contact with her, the ancestors got really chatty. It was like, "That's them your kinfolks, girl. Is she your kinfolks? That's your kinfolks. She's some kin of you, girl. She's some you. That's your kinfolks. That's your kinfolk." I was like, "Oh my God, ancestors, no, I don't know this girl." They was like, "You need to ask her who she is, because that's your kinfolk. I'm telling you now, them your folks." I said, "Oh my!" And every time she came in contact with me, the ancestors would start getting chatty. In my head, they go to talking. I said, "Oh my God, I'm gonna ask her." And so one day she sat down beside me and I started asking her who her family members was. And come to find out, uh her her mother was my mom's first cousin. And which was my grandfather's sister. It tripped me out when it happened. I said, "Oh my God, we are really relatives." Again, I've seen it happen, so I don't question it anymore. And it's tripped because they get really chatty. It's a uh, it's overwhelming feeling, like undeniable. You can't get it out of my head. I don't even know why I know. I just know. But this particular time, I was aware, and I could hear my hi, Dee Dee Alchemy. My ancestors got really chatty. They was like, "Girl, them your folks. Girl, that's your folks. You better say hi to her. Them my folks." I was like, "Oh my God, I'm going to say hi." So and then sometimes I just know. And it's a weird feeling. I wish I knew all the components to it. I've read books on claircognizant, the knowing. Cause my ancestors, they have to get on to me. They be like, "You always want to know how stuff work. It just work." Sometimes there's not an answer. And it's just really nothing to really explain the workings of claircognizance. It's just knowing, and no one can tell you anything different. You have absolutely no tangible proof that this is real. You- but it's real, and that happens a lot, and you'll probably experience that too. um Once you get yourself going, it's an odd thing, though. It's an odd thing when it happens. It absolutely makes no sense, you know. And it has happened too. It comes up when I do readings with people. I absolutely know stuff. I absolutely know stuff. When I see stuff come up with people and I say, "Hey, this is going to happen. You can bank on this happen." If I tell you that, it's pretty much going to happen. That comes up in readings too. I don't know how I know, but I be knowing sometimes. Okay. All right, I'm getting ready to shut it down because I have to get on top of my rituals. I got rituals to do. I have to be consistent. And it was hard to get here the last time because I was busy doing rituals. I don't know how hoodoo, I don't know how people spend as much time as they can on here. I can find it hard to do in between rituals, in between trying to mentor my beautiful people on Patreon because I want to make sure, I'm being a good mentor to you guys. I find it hard because I want to stay in alignment. So I try to come here as much as I can, you guys. And I'll try to come here probably again this week because I think I got to meet and greet with my spiritual roots community over there. So we're going to be chatting. That's going to go on for about an hour. And then we're going to get busy in workshops. We're probably really going to amp up some things in there once we start getting workshops and going into deeper discussions. Patreon is a platform where I provide a lot of literature, education, and lectures about hoodoo, ancestral veneration, um, just a wide scope of things that has to do with hoodoo. So if you haven't heard of Patreon before, you probably want to Google that, but it's a platform where um, people in communities can connect. Okay. Hey, Miss Penny. Oh, hey, Coley Cole. He said, "Hey, Miss Penny, have not been able to chime in. Been busy today, but I've been listening since the beginning of today's live. Starting great live. You share great tips and info as always. Well, thank you, Coley Cole. Okay, so I don't want y'all to miss out on this book, this lecture, and all the great things that's going on over there at Spiritual Roots. I don't want you to miss out on that. And again, I'm so thorough and it is affordable because I know a lot of people are charging a lot to learn this. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to gatekeep. I want you to have access to it. I want you to learn it in a safe way. I don't want to just be throwing those spells at you. I want you to know all the components in the spiritual science to hoodoo and how vast and beautiful it is. It's like a beautiful gumbo. Okay. Yeah, it's in my bio, Marlo Tyson. Thank you, Money Beauty Wellness. Okay. So it's a beautiful gumbo and I just love it. And even when I do these lectures and stuff, I'm just excited as y'all. It's just always keep me excited. It keeps me learning. It keeps me growing. Especially when I can mentor and go over this stuff with you. And we're still I grow even more just having these discussions and stuff with you guys. Cause I can't take it with me. I have to give it to you. Nothing I can do with it. The ancestors put it in me. I got this wisdom and knowledge in me. I can't take it with me. Okay? It's got to be transferred over. And so we do a lot of that on Patreon. Okay? Well, I'm getting ready to close out. If y'all have any questions or anything like that, put it well, I got a lot of people on YouTube. Put it in the comments on YouTube. Can't do it here on TikTok, but DM me, okay? And I provide readings too. I do not do storyline readings. So if you're a person that love these storyline 1-900 readings, oh, I see him doing this to you, girl. He did this. I don't do that. There's no reason for me to do that. I read exactly what the cards say, no more, no less. You ask your questions, you will get your answer. I just don't feel like it's ethical to do that. Okay. So if you want a real reading, DM me. Uh, if you want a spiritual blueprint, a hoodoo spiritual blueprint to your root work, what might work for you, you can DM me for that. Just send your email. I need your date of birth and your time, and I will get you out do your natal chart and give you a hoodoo spiritual blueprint to your journey. And those are just 10 bucks. Okay. That's okay, DD Alchemy. That's okay. I was just to giving them an update about what's going on Spiritual Roots. We got a lot of good stuff going on over there. and I didn't want you guys to miss it. I want you to let you know what's going on because some awesome stuff going to go on over there, and people are going to, you're really going to connect with your ancestors and gain some knowledge and get rooted in your practice over there. And that's what I'm there to do, to help you do. That's the goal. I'm in Thailand. I'm in Thailand. I know you guys are probably in the States, but I'm in Thailand. Here it's 3 o'clock in the morning. My time is all messed up since I done moved up here. I get up, I walk around in the night like it's the day, and then I go to bed at day like it's the night. It's so crazy. So I think I got some time lagging going on too. Yeah, it's on Patreon. And you can find that link in the YouTube. I think you can find it in our YouTube channel bio. So you should be able to find that link over there and get straight over there if there's something you're interested in, DD Alchemy. Yeah, ancestors is doing something in me right now. The energy that's coming in now, is they're doing something. They have an assignment going on with me. Now, if you're wanting to do the blueprint, do we find the info in your bio to do the blueprint? No, you'll have to DM me or email it me. Let me put my email address in the chat. And in the subject, put in Hoodoo spiritual blueprint. So I know, it's from a customer because I get so many emails. Okay. So that's my email address if you're interested in doing a uh me looking at your natal chart and breaking it down from a hoodoo perspective and giving you, looking at the shadow work you need to do in your north and south node. We look at those, looking at your houses, and we kind of break that down. And we look at the root work, the Psalms, and everything that's going to be beneficial to you based on your natal chart. So that's the thing that I do. So you'll know some of the root work and some of the shadow work that you would need to do. And once you do the shadow work and you have that spiritual blueprint, you're gonna see that that blueprint lines up with your shadow work. Because everything that is seen in your natal chart or in that chart and that blueprint that you need to do, you'll start to recognize it once you start doing your shadow work. I am not doing readings right now. My YouTube name is the same name that you see here is Chemistry. I'm not doing readings right now. If you're interested in a reading, please DM your email address and I will send you out an invoice. I have that too. If you can get if it was in morning or afternoon, that helps. So if you can find out if it was morning or afternoon, that might help you. Just do an estimate. Ask your parents, was it afternoon, in the evening, at night, was it morning? So that that'll help you kind of pin it down too. Okay. You guys take care. Love you, and I hope to see you in the Spiritual Roots Hoodoo community. Oh Lord, I'm hitting the thing. Okay, I'm getting ready to close now. You guys can always come back and watch this live. And I'll be coming back again, sharing our latest updates over there in the community to keep you updated and let you know what's going on and to share more information and insight with you. Okay? Light, love, namaste, ashe, love one.